I did go to concert. I don't know if it recognized my yet, but it was not letting me
Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. And if you heard some strange weirdo talking in the background during the opening music, that was my boy Zach Richmond in the background. Richards. You never know which one to blame these days. We gotta teach him a little bit more professionalism, how this all show business works. But also joining me is RDV. Since you were here first, RDV, why don't you say hello to the crowd? RDV is not here. So, Zach, good thing you're here. I just put on a great show.
You never know what you're going to get. What's up? Hey, everybody. How's it going?
All right. So, just a future pro tip, Zach. When the music's going on in the show, you don't want to talk over it.
Yeah, that's me. I'll own that. That's my bad. I'll own that.
I kicked on the music, and usually when I kick on the music, it lasts like 2.5 minutes long. I get up and I get my drink and I get all situated, and I come back and I put my headphones on and I'm like, I hear some talking in the background. I thought it was like I had a YouTube video going on or something. I'm like, why am I hearing noises? And I'm like checking. I'm like, nope, nothing's going on. And then I happen to see in the Discord, there you were. So I have to have to find a way to avoid that in the future. But welcome, thank you for coming in. I don't know if RDV is supposed to be here, but he may have died. I hope he didn't die.
He's still here.
I hope he's not dead. But we'll just he might be reading a comic or eating some food.
I can still hear him sometimes. It's like he never left. Yeah. No, he's still here though. I think I was talking to him a few minutes ago.
Yeah, you guys. Well, anyways, let's say hello to the fans. I say fans like I have any. The audience members. Melissa, she's first, not uncommon. Eric Breen is second. He came by just to claim his silver medal apparently, and then go to sleep. I don't get to see Eric anymore because he's got a new work schedule and he's always going to Sleepy Town by the time I get started. Let's see. Marania's in the house. Welcome, Marania. Already said hi to RDV and you, of course. Let's see. Bunch of hellos. Just I love going through the chat, trying to catch up. every show, and it's just a bunch of people saying hello to each other. So it's like, um, let's see. Dominic's also here. Just the conversation,
What's up, Dominic?
the chat is just everyone saying hi. There's no comments about actually anything of note, except Melissa, I guess, talks about Powerpuff Girls gets woke, and they race swap Buttercup with a racist woke SJW.
Yeah, RDV had he had that Catwoman pun that I read in Eartha Kitt's voice. That was fun. That was a little funny, little pun right there.
I don't know anything. I mean, I know the existence of Powerpuff Girls, but being as old as I am, they were past my time anyway, and they look like a show for little girls. And I was like, yeah, well, this is something I don't think I'll ever need to see. So I didn't miss out, but I feel bad for other people who may or may not have, had something they love from their childhood tarnished. That just seems to be the way of the current things, though. Is you've got to just make everything all woke all the time. If you're not race swapping, you ain't trying. I'm serious, man.
That's true.
I want to make
true. Hey, can you hear Venkman? Because I can hear him in my headset. He tried to make a little joke right there.
Oh, did he? Let me double check and make sure he's not. I thought.
He says the one time he says nice things about you, and you can't hear him.
That figures. I muted him. Now I've unmuted him.
Maybe Venkman, maybe try leaving the channel and then pop back in. It's like the turning off and turning on again method.
There we go. I pulled him out and put him back in. See if this works. There's Venkman. Hello. Welcome, my friend. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Say hello to everyone, Venkman.
Well, hello, everyone. I thought it was because Zach jumped in and screwed everything up.
Yeah, let's blame Zach.
It might have been. You guys can. I'll be your scapegoat for the evening. It's a role I was born to play.
No, we can't get him banned off of YouTube at all like that. I mean, for Twitter.
Right. So, I don't have a lot to talk about tonight. I'm really glad that both of you guys jumped on, because I was like, I'm going to do my show tonight, and I don't have any topics. Normally, I just haven't done anything all week. It's been a slow week for me. I've been playing this video game that I'm stuck on, and I'm like, I don't really want to talk about video games on the show too much. I mean, I'll mention them, but I don't want it to be 30 minutes of video game talk. I'm bore everyone to death. So,
have you get any further in Flash?
Yeah, I watch Flash with my buddy and his kids on the weeknights. So they are here every other week. So this is their on week, and we watch it during the week. At school nights we watch after dinner, and yeah, we watched we're for those of you that have watched the show and know where it goes. We're going through season 2 now, the Zoom episodes.
Oh, and that was a good season. I liked season 2. Yeah, Jay Garrick.
Yeah, so it's got some cool stuff, and something just kind of happened that's caused me to have a lot of theory crafting, and it was pretty cool. We were like talking theories with the kids, and they're young. They're like 9 and 11, so they're still kind of young, and we were getting I was seeing some good cognitive reasoning, about like, oh, what if it was this, and then this is, and it's just kind of cool to see that development, and as things start clicking, and even the show's kind of simple on its own. But normally I'm bitching about the show until tonight. The end of the show was really just talking about plot and stuff, and I was like, wow, this is refreshing. Because normally I'm like,
how avid of a fan of Flash are you? Do you have you read anything like with like Wild West and stuff, the Flash run?
No, I am not a Flash fan. I would say I know slightly more about him than I do, say, Green Arrow.
Okay.
But I don't know very much.
I don't want to say them give us spoilers, but I was saying knowing a little bit, I did know about Wally's run, and there is 2 reverse Flashes, and I was hoping it was they would do something comic, but other than that, I'm not going to say any more. because like I hate when you watch a show and you're like you already know the comic. It's just like a book, or a movie. You read the book, so you're hoping like are they gonna do this? And then like you're hoping that like and you get your hopes up and then you get let down. And sometimes you get good stuff. So it's great to go in there without knowing any flashbacks because you can't be really disappointed then.
Mm,
Yeah, that's how it was for me when I was watching it. Because I only got into reading Flash comics fairly recently. I think I'd heard you, Vink, you might have
Mhm.
talked about Joshua Williamson's run, and that's what got me interested into reading the Flash. So I've only recently I was watching Flash years ago when it first came out. So it's kind of
Yeah.
cool to be able to go into the show, and I knew some of the characters' names, like I knew who Captain Cold was and Gorilla Grodd and some of these
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
supporting characters. But it was really cool just to kind of watch it with that kind of I don't know, that blind perspective where it's like you don't know what's gonna come next,
Yeah.
what's coming from the comics or whatever. But
Shot. Yeah. Batman Beyond by Dan Jurgens and Josh Williams' Flash is what we got me buying comics again. Thank you guys. Now I'm broke.
I do plan on
Right.
reading the Josh Williams Flash run at some point. Um, what
Well,
I
you
that's a
read the
pretty long run from what I've gathered. I think he started back in
100
Rebirth,
issues.
I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's over 100. Well, his name saying lately is Tinians right now. They're at 100 something.
That's crazy to me. In a world where Marvel
well,
reboots and has
Tinian's not
different
100
writers.
issues. Tinian started.
No,
on,
no, but I'm saying current Batman is what is dated 106 last week. So I'm
yeah,
just
but
saying
Williamson's not writing it anymore.
no, he's by like 3 issues ago or 4 issues ago. He dipped out 6 maybe.
That's
But
still a really long
yeah,
time. I
it
mean,
is.
compared to some of these other writers that you see, like I don't know, Donny Cates. I mean, as good as Donny Cates is, like his Guardians of the Galaxy run was 12 issues. So when I
Mhm.
see somebody like Joshua Williamson who's been on Flash for over 100, I'm just like, wow, that's incredible. Uh, but yeah, but it's good stuff. I like what I'm reading so far.
I think when I first started doing the comic review with Breen and Ingleton about 2 years ago, I read through 1 through 80 of Josh Williams' Flash. I just binged through that whole entire thing within like 2 or 3 weeks, just to get caught up, so I can comment on it and buy it. So I want to go back and start buying all those trades.
Would you say you were speed reading?
But no.
It's one of my new abilities.
Hey, speaking of speed reading, I forgot to do the today's sponsor. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Rip It Energy Fuel. Normally I have a beer, but man, I've been dragging ass and tired, and I was like, I gotta get some energy to the stream. I don't want to be sitting here sloshing my words. So,
Rip It, is that Dollar Tree?
It is from Dollar Tree. So it's the regular power flavor. I got the slideshow going on here. This is a really, really good energy drink. Like, I don't know how good it is for energy, but it tastes, this one right here, the power, really good, and only $1. So yeah, I highly endorse it, and they don't pay me a dime. If you see these at the Dollar Tree, then
I like that one.
get
called
you
Three-Way.
some. What are you guys drinking tonight?
I've got me 24 ounces of high quality H2O.
Oh, high quality H2O.
High quality, meaning it comes from a bottle and not the tap.
Oh,
Oh.
nice. Nice.
Yeah, I'm drinking some Coors Banquet.
Oh, there we go. There you go. From a Rocky Mountain stream, or was it Rocky Mountain?
Just straight from the old man pissing it down the mountain.
Yeah.
Isn't that the official drink of Cobra Kai?
Yeah.
It
what
is.
No, that's the
it
thing
is.
about Coors is like it's made with Rocky Mountain spring water.
Yep.
That's what it's supposed to make it special.
I cannot find the little bottles though. They had them out for Christmas, but I can't find them now. I want the little baby bottles he was drinking in the show. Just
So,
put the tap off.
So back to the Flash. We don't want to talk about Coors all night.
Yeah, we do.
What were we saying? Oh, I was gonna say that I don't necessarily mind when they make changes in the show. Like, I expect it for one, because you don't have the entire DC license to work with, right? So whenever this is always going to be a problem with comic books, because it just you don't have the same scope to work with. So the CW pretty much has Flash and maybe the Flash Rogues Gallery and some side, the Flash family characters, and that's it, unless DC gives them special permission to like have Supergirl show up or something. I don't know. Like, so they have to like work within this thing, and I get it, dude. I gotta tell you what, I'm a comic fan, and one of the things I love about comics is diving into that lore, that deep end, and just being like, ooh, I'm not one of these people that are like, is this safe to enter? Do I, I think the fun about comics is diving in and not knowing what's going on, and then just slowly trying to figure it out, and like, who's this character? I don't understand who this character is, and then you just, people like tell you, oh yeah, you got to go check out this issue over here where they were first introduced. You're like, oh, okay. And you just start putting it, I think that's the fun. But holy shit, is Flash convoluted. There are multiple, because I went through like the wiki just to kind of get up to, did you know there's nine people have held the Flash title? And that's before Future State.
Yep.
9.
I can name maybe 4.
9.
Yeah, well, I can definitely name 4. That's crazy.
That's crazy. And that's not, then there's Kid Flashes, and then there's all the other Godspeed, and then Reverse Flash, and Reverse Flash 2, and then there's Dr. Zoom, and then Zoom. Like, there's so many. Like,
I thought Professor Zoom and Reverse Flash were the same character because they were the only one I saw in the yellow costume. Whenever I would like glance through comics, I thought it was the same person.
Yeah.
But he just gave himself another name.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And I gotta say, this show, drop all the supporting cast and just give me all the rogues all the time. Give me the
For
rogues.
real. That's like Melissa said in the chat. Where is it? Flash wasted all of its villains with pointless deaths of his rogues. I completely agree with that. The rogues are some of the coolest characters in the entire Flash series, like Captain Cold and like the code that they have and everything. If you go into the comics, that I've gotten, just from what I've seen, it's really cool. And
they don't kill.
I would rather have more Captain Cold, especially the actor who plays Captain Cold. He was on what was that show? Prison Break.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that actor.
He does phenomenal as Captain Cold. Yeah, and then Mick. Yeah, the two of them are the best, some of the best acting that you'll come across on the show, and it kills me that he's only in.
Don't spoil. I'm only in season 2.
In this season, I mean. Like this season could have been so much better, but.
Yeah, I mean, anyway. I do like. It's kind of funny because I don't really like Captain Cold, but in the show I kind of like Captain Cold because he's one of the only rogues that feels like a rogue. Like he has these returning bits, the way that it is in the comics, and then like manages to get away somehow, and Flash can't stop him. And they always find an interesting way that he gets away. Like, I think the last time he got away is because Flash basically had to let him go. It wasn't like he couldn't stop him. He just sort of like made this deal and whatever, and Flash just kind of had to watch, and he's like, okay, well, whatever.
I think I know what you're talking about.
And it was like, that's cool. Like, I'm glad that it's not every time he slips through your fingers. It's just, I like that he outsmarts him and different, and then he'll show up, and he doesn't always have the same motive. Like, he doesn't really like Flash. He wants to be kind of a criminal, but then, Flash helped save his sister, so now he's just like, I can't really, I kind of owe you one, like.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's like an honor-bound type of villain, it's really kind of cool to see, I think.
Yeah.
My only criticism of the portrayal is he just sounds like, okay, Mr. Whatever his name is from South Park.
Oh.
Psychiatric guy.
Yeah.
He's got that, but I mean, like you said, yeah, he plans everything out. He doesn't kill, no matter what, and he outsmarts the Flash, and this is, and I keep in the back of my mind. This is a younger Flash. He's just first learning, obviously. This is like Flash year 1, so he's gonna come across new villains, and eventually, when he gets older, like like season 7, he's gonna learn how to do things on his own.
Right. I just, what I'm trying to say though is that I like, for people who don't necessarily read comics, and that's not going to probably be 0 people listening to this, he's one of the rare occurrences of treating a character like a comic book character, the fact that they reoccur, right? Because the shows and movies have a tendency to just kill people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a storyline, and eventually the hero wins by seeing the death of the villain. And that's not necessarily a bad way to go always. I always make the argument in the movies I'm fine with it because, I use the Christopher Nolan Batman, for example. He was only making 3 movies. So his entire universe is 3 2-hour movies. Or 2.5. They might be a little longer. But, like, there's not it's not 80 years of Batman comics he needs to fill. So it's fine that, you killed this character, move on. Like, because we're not going to be coming back to him over and over. Like in the comic books, you just can't do that. You'd be inventing new heroes or villains every month, and it just. But in the TV shows, it's a little bit longer. What's Flash on right now? Season 7, season 8. Flash has been running a long time.
Season 7.
Yeah, is it 7? 7
7?
seasons? Yeah.
So
and I'll just say this for this: he worked out, so no more string bean.
Nice. So
7 seasons in, he finally works out.
Nice. So finally, well, maybe also he became a man. I don't know. I was like, did he go through puberty finally?
Yeah.
I would have hoped that would have been like around his wedding, whenever he. But no.
Yeah,
but,
right.
I
didn't mean that way. Goodness
Iris
gracious.
is the captain.
Iris, seriously, Earth 2 version. That was the episode we watched tonight, or one of the episodes where they went.
Oh, the Earth 2.
Earth 2 Barry Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like the only thing that saved it for me was that it was Earth 2. Because I was like, this is unbearable. Like how butch they made Iris and like how beta male Barry was. Like it was like cringy. Like he was just like, yes, dear. Like I was like, this is like on purpose. But you could tell it was on purpose. Like they were trying to establish how different Earth 2 was. And I was like, I'm begrudgingly accepting this because it's on that intent.
I like when they show Earth 2. It's more like the DC universe.
Yeah,
the aesthetic of it all. And
Yeah,
just like the vibe and the tone of it.
It has that stylistic nature to it.
We're gonna tease you what we could do, and we're gonna say "F you" and give you the credit.
Pretty much. Oh, to be a DC fan.
Well, I got to thinking, it just hit me tonight, as a matter of fact, that the CW stuff takes place in Earth 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I was like, wait a second, the comics are Earth 0. So
Yep.
Earth 1 is in the comics. They have a graphic novel series, I think they just came out the Wonder Woman Earth 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't read them, but I was asking my buddy who collects them, and I was like, what's the deal with this? And he was basically saying it's like the movie versions. It's like the Earth 1, the DC comic Earth 1s they read like a world that's like our world with the DC heroes, and there's not the huge massive all the other characters. Like, so if you read Batman Earth 1, it's just like a Christopher Nolan Batman. Like, it's just Batman.
Is it in Chicago or New York?
No, I mean, what I'm saying? Like, if it's not like when you read a DC comic, DC's got so many damn characters. They're popping. It's like fucking Pokemon. They're just all over the place. So is that
the excuse though? Is why they put politics into the CW shows?
No, that's not what I'm. They put this politics in CW shows because it's CW.
It's because they're closer to the real world.
I'm just saying that the Earth 1 is supposed to be more towards the real world and less like the DC. That's why there's not millions of DC characters all over the place. Of course, that's kind of the CW's doing their best to change that by constantly throwing characters all over the place. But I don't know. I was just putting that 2 and 2 together tonight. I forgot to start my timer because you guys are on. What I normally do, kids, is talk jibber jab for like 30 minutes before I read the book, which tonight is going to be Jupiter's Legacy. We'll be talking about that in a bit. But I have a tendency to go long in the tooth because I know I'm probably going to go long because I got these guys on. But hopefully it's more entertaining because you're not just listening to my stupid voice. But the timer is set for 30 minutes. So if you don't aren't here to listen to us talk about comics and different things, you can come back in 30 minutes and we'll be doing the story. And until then, let me put the Discord thing back on so you could see. Have you guys read Jupiter's Legacy?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it yet. Aren't they making like a Netflix show or a movie based off of this? I thought I saw a headline the other day.
Yes, they are.
Okay,
I
okay.
I thought this was the Channing Tatum movie. I was so excited.
That's Jupiter Ascending.
Oh,
Oh, the one
Very
with Mila Kunis.
yes.
I do like Mark Millar though. I do like some of the stuff that he did for Marvel. He is a really good storyteller, so I would be interested in reading it just because his name is on it. But no, I have not gotten to read it yet though.
Okay, I was just curious. Obviously, Vankman, you haven't read it either.
Nope, never heard of it, actually.
Never heard of it, huh? So I haven't read it either, but I own all of it. I bought it on sale on Comixology a while back. There are 4 volumes of trades. It's a little weird if you're going to read it through the trades because they renamed them and renumbered them. So the trades, sorry, the original series was Jupiter's Legacy, and it was 2 miniseries. So it was Jupiter's Legacy and Jupiter's Legacy 2. And then it doesn't even work that way. There's another set of miniseries called Jupiter's Circle. And then there's also Jupiter Circle 2. And if my memory serves correctly, Jupiter's Legacy was the first miniseries. Then they did Jupiter's Circle, which was a prequel miniseries about basically the parents of the characters in the first series. It was Jupiter Circle. Then they did Jupiter Circle 2. Then they went back to the future. No pun intended. Anyways, they went back to the future and did Jupiter's Legacy 2. Now, because of the Netflix deal and all this stuff, I think Netflix was like, this is all confusing. So they reprinted all the trade paperbacks, and now they're just all called Jupiter's Legacy, volumes 1 through 4. And they numbered them in that order. Or, sorry, they didn't. They switched the orders around, so the 2 prequels happened first. So Jupiter's Legacy volume 1 is actually volume 2. Would be the second book. And yeah, you see what I'm saying? It's like present, past, present, and then they reworked them so it's past, present. That's the simplest way I could put it. But anyways, here's the trailer. Let's see if we can get away with showing this.
One day you're gonna be stronger than anyone else in the world. Every evil you can imagine is gonna rise up against mankind. And not for justice.
I gotta pause because apparently doing this helps you with the copyright algorithm stuff. Because if you're allowed to show like 15 seconds of content, I guess. Or I don't know if that's the exact number. A short amount of content for critical purposes like we're doing here.
Vengeance. You're gonna be the future.
Wow, that was a very informative trailer. What'd you think?
Oh, it's riveting. I'm on the edge of my seat just watching it. I mean,
I just sold my car so I can go watch it.
well, no, but that's what they're supposed to do with these. I mean, it says it right there. It's a teaser. It's supposed to tease you to kind of tickle your interest. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna have some quality behind it. I mean, Netflix, I know some of their stuff is good, some of their stuff not so much, but especially I think because isn't Millar or aren't the original comic team behind this as well? Like, are they writing or produce? I thought that I read somewhere that one of them at least was working on it. I could be wrong though.
Well, Mark Millar or Miller, I believe is how it's actually.
Millar, yeah.
It's of course his property. He had his own company, Millar World, which he sold to Netflix. Part of the sale, he stayed on as like head of it, but he doesn't own it anymore. Netflix owns it, but
Okay.
he's basically paid a large sum of money to be a part of this, and Netflix gets to manage it and spend all the money making the movies, and it works out for him. He's got some contractual obligations. I believe he has to write like 3 series a year for them, and it's basically for them to mine for content, which seems like a smart deal for Netflix. All in all, it's probably very cheap to do this compared to like owning Marvel or owning DC, right? So if you can get a couple really good series out of this, that could be very profitable for Netflix. I don't know how much he's involved in the actual doing of the show, but he's not a movie person or a TV.
Yeah, no.
So
yeah,
he probably is just he might be on set as an advisor. I'm trying to find where the IMDb like really changed their stuff. It used to be so much like more user friendly. I'm trying to see like, I guess maybe this is his TV show. It doesn't just have like who the director is and stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's good. I've heard good things about. Oh, let's see. We got some still photos.
Yeah, he's done a lot of the stuff that Millar has written. Whenever it's been transitioned over onto the screen, whether it was like Kick-Ass or Kingsman or Old Man Logan, of course, was inspiration for Logan a few years back. Anytime one of his books has made it over to the screen, it's always been, at least for me, it's always been an entertaining ride. There are some of the stories I like more than others, but
yeah, even when they're not really well done, like Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's right. He did do Wanted, didn't he?
Yeah, Wanted was one of his early. Even when they're not really well done, like Wanted, you can still, if you go back and you watch like Wanted today, I mean, it's not a great movie, but there's interesting ideas in it. You can see, and I've read the comic book, and I believe the comic book is much better than the movie. But yeah, you're right. Kick-Ass was at least the first movie. It's when he works with Brian K. Vaughan. Not Brian K. Vaughan. Sorry, that's the comic writer. It's Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn. Yeah.
I always do that. Scott Snyder, Zack Snyder, Brian K. Vaughan, Matthew Vaughn. So Matthew Vaughn did the Kingsman. He did Kick-Ass. He did X-Men First Class.
Mm-hmm. He does some
he
really
did the sequel to the Kingsman too. So when he works on those stuff, it comes out good. The second Kick-Ass was meh.
Yeah, I never saw the second one. I only saw I meant to, but I mean, it sounds like I kind of maybe dodged a bullet. But the first one I thought was great.
I love the first one. Yeah, if the second one's worth seeing, if you love the first one, just go in knowing that it's kind of an inferior. Like you're just getting, like just it's really there for like I want more of this. I know it's not going to be as good, but
gotcha.
The characters are the same, right? You get to see those. What about you, Venkman? Do you like any of these movies we've been talking about?
Kick-Ass is actually pretty good. The second one was kind of lame. I didn't care for Jim Carrey's role in it, and I think that's what also led to his downfall, was adding Jim Carrey to the cast. The second one, and just I don't know. It's like they have Red Mist jealous of him. I am going to be the villain now. It's just like you're McLovin.
I thought Red Mist was a cool. I thought the ideas in Kick-Ass 2 were
in the comics
good.
it's better.
Sure,
comics
sure.
version. Yeah, but like,
But I thought the
I think
ideas
McLovin-
of Kick-Ass 2 were good. They may not have been executed the best, but I liked McLovin being the villain. I
see,
actually
now you're asking a guy who likes what was it called? Dragonfly? Is that the one with the? What was the Stanley movie they did with the? What's his name?
I don't even
Drake
know.
Bell. That was the one where he was supposed to be the superhero. He got bit by a dragonfly and he became the dragonfly.
He got bit by was it a radioactive dragonfly?
Yeah, it's a real movie. Look it up. Stanley.
God, come on, Stan.
yeah.
I got bit by a radioactive. This guy got bit by a radioactive cockroach. Then this guy got bit by a radioactive. He goes through the whole gamut.
I think it was one of those satirical movies. So it was supposed to be like I think it's called Superhero movie or something like that.
I'll have to look that up sometime.
Oh, was it like? Hold on. Was that like one of those movies that was like Scary Movie? Was a satire of scary movies?
Kind of like that. Yeah, he's a dragon.
Yeah, they did have a movie. I can vaguely remember that, but
it's called Superhero Movie. Came out in 2008. Bite from a genetically altered insect gives him superhuman abilities. Teenage loser Rick Riker decides to use his powers for good. Donning an uncomfortably tight costume, Rick becomes a serious crime fighter known as the Dragonfly. But standing in the way of truth, justice, and American way is an evil villain known as the Hourglass, who plans to become immortal by sucking the life bars of anyone gets in his way. That had Leslie Nielsen as his Uncle Albert, supposed to Uncle Ben. You know, you had Christopher McDonald in there as Littlander, who basically the Hour Man, who was a villain. Kevin Hart's in there too. It was a satirical, funny thing, but I loved it because Leslie Nielsen he's like the perfect like comedy Uncle Ben. he even goes out with.
Now, what did you not like about Jim Carrey's character? I really liked Jim Carrey's character in that movie. I didn't like Jim Carrey off the set, like afterwards when he was all like, "Oh, anti-gun," and they're like, "Dude, you just made a movie about guns, and now you're."
I'm just over Jim Carrey.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like he was great in The Mask, in like Dumb and Dumber. He had Truman Show, yeah, all stuff. And then they did, and I think it's when they did the number 23, and all of a sudden it's like,
yeah, he did do that. That's scary. Yeah, number 20. I thought that was a weird choice for him.
Well, he was trying to go. He was trying to go serious. Like,
yeah, and
I'm neither here nor there. Like, I was done with Jim Carrey back with like Ace Ventura. So like, but when he started doing his serious stuff, I was like, oh, okay, I'm with you on this. And I thought the character in Kick-Ass, I thought he did a really good job on that character. Like, it didn't come across like a Jim Carrey thing. Like, I felt it was the character. Now, as far as Jim Carrey itself, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm done with you, Jim Carrey. But in the movie, it's almost barely recognizable. I think a lot of people could watch the movie and be like, "That's Jim Carrey." Like, what?
I really liked him in Sonic the Hedgehog. I thought he was really good, Dr. Robotnik. That's just me though. But
what are you thinking about the look of some of these stills I'm putting up of the show?
I'm digging it. I like this one right here. It's got a very it almost like a Boys, like it almost looks like the Boys, but a little bit more grand. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is the one that has an old guy, right?
Well, I rewound to the old guy picture because Marani made a comment. She's like, "Wow, those costumes. The guys are definitely not Ken dolls." And I was like, "Oh, the female gaze is alive and well."
What's his name again? It was like Overpower or something like that, or it was some weird name. It was like. Wasn't Odin, but it was something.
I honestly do not know. I do not know. I've had these books for over a year, maybe 2 years. I've had these books, and they've just sat in my digital library, and I've just keep forgetting to read them.
What's the name of the show again?
Jupiter's Legacy.
Those are some really cool costumes.
So these characters, from what I understand, are the characters from Jupiter's Circle, which would be in volume 1 of
Josh.
Yeah, it is Josh. Oh yeah, you're right.
It's Josh Duhamel.
Yeah, Jamal or
Josh.
Whatever.
Then the guy next to him is the dude from the Krypton show that plays
Utopian. That's what he's called.
Utopian
leader. Yeah.
Well, don't be all spoiling stuff. We're not here to.
Spoiler.
I know you're going on Wikipedia or something. And
did you watch a trailer? They released with this.
We just watched the trailer.
Yeah, it tells you the name.
It was a big symbol. No, I just heard you about to like read some sort of synopsis.
No. I'm just reading the names of those three people on the screen you showed.
So these as far as I understand it, these characters are from the Jupiter Circle storyline, because Jupiter's Legacy in the comics was about the kids. So like these are essentially kind of like the Justice League, and then it's like, okay, the golden age is gone, now you're kids, and it's kind of a dark story about the kids of superheroes, and they're not quite as pure and, you know, virtuous maybe as their parents were. And then when they did the prequel, they went back and told the story, I guess, of the parent figures, and that's the first volume if you read the trades.
My question is, they're only gonna, if you saw and if you looked online, it's only supposed to be 8 episodes. Is this gonna be? I hope, because everybody's trying to ride the coattails of Umbrella Academy and like, you know, Doom Patrol and all that stuff. I am curious if this will get another season.
Depends on if it's good. If it gets the
That's-
response,
yeah,
if it gets a
I read
response that
that-
The Boys does, it'll be another season.
Because the boys, the trailer hooked me and everything in this, and I'm plus knowing background already looking it up. This, just looking at trailer value on Netflix, I'm not interested at all. It just
Well-
seems
Well, I'm
like
sure once it
it's
gets
it's like a serious version of Sky High.
Maybe.
I
Well,
remember
wait.
Sky High. I'm sure once it gets closer to the actual release date, they'll release like a full-length trailer that'll
based
have
on that-
lots of footage and
Yeah.
stuff.
So
It-
here's
it's
the
worth-
collected editions on screen. So you can see these first two were the Jupiter
Is that
Circle
Big
series.
Daddy? That looks like Big Daddy.
No, it's not Big Daddy.
You sure?
Yeah.
That's Nicolas Cage, Big
It's-
Daddy.
It's the first two were the Jupiter Circle books, and these other two are the Jupiter's Legacy. We're gonna be reading volume 3 tonight, which again is the first. Chronologically, this was the first books that came out. They've just been not chronologically in real time. Chronologically in the story time, this is the order of time that you read them. So
Yeah, it's like Star Wars. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
books
yeah.
3 and
Thank you.
4 are books 3 and 4 would be the original trilogy, and then 1 and 2 would be the prequels.
That is messed up.
yeah,
And I hate that they did that, because they should just relabel it. This is volume 1.
they
This is volume
did. They
2.
did relabel it. That's what I'm trying to get the confusion. Right? But the first comic book that came out on the shelves was in this volume 3. But these first two volumes here, chronologically in story time, occur before volumes 3 and 4, even though volumes 3 and... Okay, anyways. I'm just going to confuse it even worse.
Is that Invincible on the volume 2
There's
cover
no-
right next to
no-
Big Daddy? It
no.
looks like Invincible and Big
These are
Daddy. in the same
Millar's own characters.
That's Big
Um,
Daddy, and that's the guy from Mr. Science Theater 3000, right? It's Crow.
Jesus Louise. But you can see here some of them were called Jupiter Circle if I look at the actual covers. So this guy, Utopia, right here on the cover of number 1, obviously he's younger here because it's in the past. So I don't know exactly how they're going to do the adaptation. I'm sure there'll be changes, but you can see the difference between old school parents that were virtuous and
Oh my
heroic, and then new school emo kids that, yeah. And this was like 10 years ago. This, oh geez, this just
Wow.
That- If you scroll back down and look at that cover where they have the guy in the blue sitting next to the girl, that's totally Invincible with his girlfriend.
Wait, which cover? Volume 2?
Go now down further where they're using the issues. Right there, where it says Jupiter Circles. Issue 4?
this one? No. This one? Which one?
There's all 4 people to cover next to the guy in yellow. Yeah, they're in the middle.
The
right
second
there.
one from the left? Use your words, Vinkman.
Well, I'm watching on the 8-second delay. Okay.
Okay, fair enough.
Now-
That's true.
Okay, it's the one that has all 4 of you on there, and all 4 people are sitting on the cover. It's called issue number 4, Jupiter Circle.
Oh, I see it. I see what you're
Oh,
talking about.
yeah.
okay.
I'm 1.
Okay, with the safe space and snowflake on the cover.
Yeah, that's
Philip was writing them way before Daniel Kibblesmith even dreamt of those.
Here,
And
I'll
then-
blow up the cover here to make it easier for Vankman.
blows up the wrong one.
Is that the wrong one? You said the 4. Who's? I can't.
Okay, four, right there. Yes. Keep moving the mouse like that.
Okay, I'm on the delays on helping.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, with
It-
safe spaces. I don't.
Look-
It doesn't look like Invincible to me.
He's got his mask off, and that's his girl. She's because Invincible wore the blue, and his girlfriend wore the pink.
Oh my god, they look more like Safe Space and Snowflake to me.
Which one's which?
It doesn't matter.
The boy wears the pink. The girl
This
wears the blue.
this looks like I'm too gay for Hawkeye on the left here. What the fuck?
I like
It's Huntress's really confused son.
yeah, that, and then you have Marty McFly with the mask.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, he does look like Marty McFly.
Just paint it orange.
She looks like her superhero name would be like Peppermint or Tootsie Roll, because like it looks like a candy wrapper
I'm Pepto.
logo.
What's your name? I'm Pepto.
Oh my goodness. Let's go back. So here's now that we've seen the covers, you switching back to the real picture. I like this image. I think this is a good job. Joshua Duhamel, I think Duhamel. I don't know his name. Is it good? And the guy on the right here from Krypton. That's all I know him from. I know he's been on a lot of things, but I'm excited. I'm hoping this is done well.
Yeah,
I-
the production value looks really
I thought-
really strong.
The guy in the far right, I was laughing my ass because I'm like, is that Anthony Hopkins? And then Josh Duhamel in the middle with a giant cod piece. White cod piece does not look good.
Apparently, Venkman also has the female gaze.
What about gays? Oh, really?
We don't talk about gays in any sort of
Yeah.
negative fashion because we like YouTube not to cancel us. I thought this
What
was
does
a pretty
that
cool
fan
little
say?
Easter egg here. Quietly Express, because Frank Quietly was the artist.
I was about to point that out actually. I just noticed that when you went back to that image. I was like, wait a second, that's the name of that guy who's also on the covers.
That's Will Forte crouching over.
Oh, it's got an address.
That is not.
Quietlyexpress.com. All right, here we go. I'm going to ask you guys. Is Quietly Express... Don't look, Venkman. I know you're about to cheat. Before you cheat, is Quietly
Sure.
Express going to be a real website? Or is it going to pop up not found?
Probably pop up not found because they're just too cheap to do that.
What about you?
I don't think I could. Maybe if they tried to go like the Cloverfield route and make up their own website as like a marketing gimmick, maybe. But I don't know if that's the route they're going for the
I-
marketing. with
I
Here
their
we
like
go.
that
I'm gonna turn it in. Let's see.
I like that NBC did that for Constantine. You can actually call the number, and he actually was actually Matt Ryan on the end.
Wait, where?
Do, do, do.
www. Not Quietly Express. Site can't be. Bummer.
It pulls up porn.
Well,
Well, that would be just
it gets
awful.
taken down immediately.
Ah.
Now Dominic said something here in the chat, which has me a lot more interested in this now than I was even 20 minutes ago. Which is, unlike The Boys, Jupiter's Legacy is a reconstruction and more optimistic of the superhero genre.
Yeah, the seven are actually heroes.
Yeah, because I tried to watch The Boys. I got through the first season, and I know a lot of people love it, rant and rave it, but for me, it was just like it got really, really dark, like all the time. It's like,
It was.
okay, how dark, how deep down the rabbit hole can I go and still come out, smiling on the other end?
I got through the first 6 episodes of The Boys, and then I was like, I can't take this anymore. It's just fucking. It's too
It's so
nihilistic.
almost depressing.
But
like
then
I would
I-
have to watch. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna finish this. I got 2 more episodes. Let me just so I can experience the whole. I hate being one of those people that's like, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I want to judge it, whatever. So I just like, I'm gonna finish it. And then those last 2 episodes, I was like, oh, I don't know if it's because I took a break and I wasn't being overloaded with nihilism, but
Yeah.
It kind of worked for me. And then I saw that the second season, I think, is even better than the first season.
Yes.
And so now I'm fully on board. And I know that we're bombarded with deconstruction, but I don't necessarily think deconstruction is bad if it's done well, and I thought The Boys was done well, even if that first season was like really depressing.
Wasn't that a Grease song?
What's that?
Was that a Grease song? Deconstruction, deconstruction, deconstruction. Oh,
I don't know. Maybe.
Sorry.
I don't know.
No. You ever watch Grease?
Grease,
I'm on
the
wrong
musical.
channel here. Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're just
You're
derailing.
lucky. You're lucky. This stuff just gets stuck in my head because Angle Team. The Boys, the show was more harsh and butcher than the comics were.
Yeah.
I feel like
I felt bad for Butcher. Like, holy cow!
I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't watched the show, but like if you read the comics, you know what we're talking about.
I think The Boys. I like The Boys because it's a good deconstruction, and I also like it because it's a really strong commentary on celebrity and the poisoning of like narcissism, and how when people get that fame and they get this idea that they're better than other people, and how it poisons their brain into thinking that way. Like it just perpetuates it even more. Like when you think you're more important than other people, and then something happens, like you become a celebrity, let's say, that just fuels it even further. And then if you grow and you just become more, and it's like this self-destructive, like you either keep getting more and more famous and more powerful and more loved, or you just implode, right? And we're watching what's his name, Homelander, kind of descend into madness.
Oh my gosh!
Because his path, he has to constantly be going up, and if he doesn't, it just starts collapsing all around him, and he's just barely holding it together. And I love this concept of a story where it's like, what if we had a world where we lived with, there was literally Superman, and he was breaking like this? You're just like, oh my God, how do you stop this guy if he, loses it? Like, what are you going to do?
They haven't shown any weaknesses for him at all yet. For everyone else has their own weaknesses, but this guy is like, yeah, he's like
right.
Superman.
Yeah, and I mean, the only person you thought might be able to stop him, I don't want to spoil anything, was a character in the second season, and then things happen and go a different direction than you're expecting, and you're like, okay, well, I guess that's not going to work out the way we thought. And
see, I had the same conclusion too.
Yeah. Anyways, I like The Boys. If you've only seen the first season, I recommend trying the second season. Like it goes. What I like about the second season over the first season is that in the first season there was almost like no redeeming characters. Everyone was just an asshole. Everyone was deplorable on some level, and you're like, just why do I care about this? Like, you've got the Seven, who are a bunch of evil F-tards, and then you've got the main characters, the boys, and they're a bunch of almost F-tards in their own right. And you're like, who is there a good guy in this show? Like,
there was a guy,
but in season 2, things morph, and I think give you a reason to care about. Look, it doesn't turn into a bright and shiny show, but you can start to see the humanity in some of these characters where you're like, oh, okay. Thank God they're not just all monsters.
Yeah, see, that was the part about season 1 that got to me. It's like, just show them, like, that was, I think the girl, what was it, Starlight or Starbright?
Mm-hmm.
She was, I mean, the one that I was drawn to most in the show, just because she was like, I'm going to join the Seven and be a superhero, but then she has all these horrible, horrible things happen to her. And I was just like, holy cow, oh my goodness.
You've read the comics, right? Have you?
Nope, did not read the comics.
Oh, go read the comics and read that part. And tell me how much you like the show better.
The comics are very different than the show. Oh, timer. It's about time to get into the comic ourselves. The Boys comic, I recommend it too. Even if you like the Boys TV show, I recommend the comic. If you didn't like the Boys TV show, I cautiously recommend the comic because it is so different tonally, it's not so much about a deconstruction of heroes and a commentary about celebrity. It's almost like Ellis. What was not Ellis? Who's the Garth Ennis?
Yes.
It's almost like Garth Ennis's magnum opus on his dislike for heroes, because he's notorious for being one of these guys who like doesn't really like superheroes, which is why he's always constantly doing things like Punisher or Constantine or
I don't mind as long as he writes those 2 books.
Sure. I mean, that's fine. I mean, but he himself is not like a big fan. He's like for capes and stuff, and it kind of pokes fun, but not in a funny way, about the problem with superheroes, and it's basically a very cynical look at heroes. And he writes it in a way of like, this is how heroes probably would be, and they would probably need a group of people to like keep track of them. And you can definitely see the connection of the TV show where the TV show draws that. But the heroes are more like rock stars. They're not the justice for all, like, you know, goody two shoes like in Justice League. They're the guys, you know, getting blown off their mind and drugs, like after they like, oh, we just like saved the day and now we're gonna go back and like, you know, big party with groupies after the fact. They're just very decadent. And like I said, the show kind of captures that too, but they kind of just diverge in different directions. And the Butcher character isn't this monster in the same way. He more works for the government and kind of like, he's like he's the guy. Remember like the thing about the Watchmen, like who watches the Watchmen?
Mm-hmm.
The Boys is that answer, kind of like the Butcher is the guy who watches the Watchmen. So it's very interesting in that aspect. I really like it, and it's dark, but it's in a Garth Ennis way, so it's kind of like tongue in cheek dark. It's like black humor. So it doesn't feel quite as like dark as the TV show, which is like, let's take the humor out, just keep all the darkness. So I like them both. They're separate to me. They, you know. Anyways, any final thoughts before we get into tonight's comic?
I
From
had
you guys.
this conversation with Puppetine. We don't talk about thoughts on this channel.
All right, that's a good answer.
Yeah, definitely. Just hearing, you know, just this past 20-30 minutes has got me really hyped up for, you know, Jupiter's Legacy. You know, something I only just glanced over a few headlines for over the past week or two, and now I'm like wanting to check out the comics and everything. So I'm kind of stoked.
All right, well, that's good. Maranya posted a link in the chat, and I'm going to go to it, and it takes me to, I don't know where it's taking me. Why is it taking me to YouTube?
I love puppets.
Oh,
We're doing live, 5 seconds.
Just make sure Puppetine is not directly placed above Vinkman.
Oh, yeah, Ash didn't see that. I got.
Are you saying Puppetine likes to be on top?
Well, let's just say I stuck my hand up Puppetine.
Wow. That's kind of funny. So this is what happens if you go to quietlyexpress.com, just for those of you who care.
You go to YouTube?
No.
Oh wait, no, that's the delay.
Yeah, you guys are live on the thing. All right, so I'm not going to hang around here. It is time to throw on the main graphic, Jupiter's Legacy. Let's bring up the comic. Do. Got the music. The problem here that I have is, since they reprinted the books, I can't find it in the normal Comixology library like I normally would, because it pulls up the new editions, which I don't actually have. So I have to actually go to my library. Not that anyone cares, but this is me just filling dead time while I try to pull up the book, because I could just type it in the search and
I
click
care, Ash.
click read. But no, I have to go into my library, which takes a little while to load, and then go and find the book.
I care. I care that
See,
you
while you're doing that, I can take a little peek here at the chat, see what's going on.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Look at you.
yeah.
You're
While you're doing that, I'm gonna go take a pee break.
So let's see. I was at Dominic talking. He was comparing the boys to Jupiter's Legacy. Dragon Ball Talk is in the chat. It says, "Read the book, dude."
see what happens? I get ornery.
Can you be more specific? Which book?
I would assume Jupiter's Legacy. I would assume. Maranya says you misspelled quietly. Oh, this might be what it was when you looked up Quietly Express earlier. I think she's saying you misspelled quietly.
No, Maranya misspelled quietly.
Oh.
Hers says quietly.
Oh,
That's why I went to nowhere wrong.
Yeah,
Quiet is Q-U-I-E-T.
The first
Gotcha.
rule of being a YouTuber: never say that Marani's wrong.
However, hold on. I just double check. To Maranya's credit, she is right. Quietly, the actual word to like walk quietly, is the way I spelled it. Frank Quietly doesn't spell his name the right way, so technically Maranya is correct. I spelled it wrong because I thought Frank Quietly spelled his name correctly. But I should know that someone who works with Mark Millar doesn't know how to spell Millar. Anyways.
It's more.
Maranya is always right. Her record
learn
remains untarnished. Dominic says the Boys TV show also pokes fun at everybody. Season 2 critiques the far left and our current culture through satire. That's cool. I'm an equal opportunity when it comes to poking fun at and satirizing, parodying. Equal opportunity. Melissa says Punisher Max. The comics are dark. Rob Zombie dark. Dominic Powell says, keep in mind, Superman and it is exempt. I guess they're talking about Garth Ennis. Keep in mind, Superman is exempt from his contempt towards capes, one of the few. If you read the Hitman issue with the JLA, you can tell he genuinely loves and understands Clark. Okay.
Nice. And also, I think Superman kind of has that. There's a lot of creators have this reverence towards Superman that he's kind of immune to whatever issues they have. There's like, except for Superman, we're gonna keep him aside, and I think that's kind of cool. So
He's an alien.
We're gonna get on with this book. Dominic says trailer for Jupiter's Legacy could have been better. It could have hardly been worse, to be fair. Netflix, you need to get up on your marketing game because I don't know if anyone's going to even know the show's coming out. This is the weird thing about today. We'll talk about after the issue. I'm going to be reading 2 issues tonight, so you guys are welcome to hang out in the chat if you want. Or, hang out in the voice while I read. We'll do a little bit of discussion between issues just so I can have a little bit of a break. And it'll be 2 issues tonight, and then we'll talk afterwards. And, yeah.
We'll just mute ourselves and we'll talk in the little Discord.
Yeah. Feel free to entertain the our I don't know what to call the chat. I guess the chat. entertain the masses.
If you don't want him to stop after he's done reading, don't talk while he's reading because he has to read everything.
No, don't do that. That makes me feel like I'm talking to, like there's no one there. It's just crickets. Like it's nice and it's encouraging to know someone's listening. All right. So without further ado, Jupiter's Legacy, Book 1. By Mark Millar, Frank Quietly. Chapter 1. Quick disclaimer, this is going to be a cold read, so there may be some errors in my reading. Also, I am not a professional voice actor, so don't be expecting any sort of Mark Hamill excellence here. Moving on. Morocco, October 1932. It's here, 600 miles west of Cape Verde. This is where I want you to take us, Captain Borges. This is where the island is. Well, I'm not a man to turn down free money, Mr. Sampson, but I'm not in the habit of wasting people's time either. I've sailed those waters my entire life, and I promise you now that there are no islands in those parts for 100 miles. Trust me, buddy. If Sheldon says there's an island on that spot, you can pretty much bet the farm on it. Oh, really? What makes you so sure? He saw it in a dream. And the rest of you are comfortable with this? Entirely comfortable. One thing we've learned over the years is that if my brother gets an idea in his head, there's no point trying to talk him out of it, Captain. Well, there's no denying you're a colorful bunch, and you've certainly piqued my curiosity here. But if I'm going to commit my ship and my crew, I need a little more to go on. What exactly are you hoping to find? To tell you the truth, I'm still not sure. All I know is that the country I love is on her knees right now, and everything I believe in is coming apart at the seams. I lost everything I had in the crash of 29, but I know in my heart that we're going to get through this, and the answer to everything lies on that island. As wild as it sounds, it's been calling me there, burning like a beacon, and telling me where to find it. I've traveled halfway around the world to get to this point, and I'll swim the rest of the way if I have to. So what do you say, Captain? Will you help us out? See? I told you he was serious. I'm either out of my mind or very, very drunk, Mr. Sampson, but you've got yourself a ship. All my life, I've been privileged and assured. Nothing had ever gone wrong on my journey from school to Yale to the board of my father's company. The Wall Street crash was my first taste of failure, and the effect was devastating, both personally and professionally. Everything we had ever earned was blown away in a single day by a panic on the New York Stock Exchange. But my own misfortune troubled me less than what I saw happening to the country at large as a result of the president's subsequent austerity drive. America was the greatest idea in human history, the most resourceful people in the world, that the world had ever known. And yet, here we were, reduced to breadlines and soup kitchens. The Bolsheviks had already taken Russia, and there were rumblings of revolution all across Europe. Might the United States be next to fall? Could our entire free market infrastructure be destroyed by some bad loans and reckless bankers? Those were the thoughts that were keeping me awake when the island first called out to me. I could see it in my dreams, like Liberty's torch, promising salvation for a country and a constitution that meant more to me than life itself. Our finest hour was yet to come, the island assured me. Great gifts lay beneath its shores, and my task was to bring them to a nation needing heroes. My uncle had asked me to join the board of a new venture that he was putting together, but my only real interest now was making my way to the island. My fiancée told everyone I'd suffered a complete mental breakdown and called off our engagement, but nothing could keep me from that distant call. I gathered my brothers and a few old college buddies and began a journey that would take me east through England and Europe and eventually North Africa. I was humbled by their belief in me. Never once In all our months together, did they ever betray one solitary doubt? I guess it's easier to draw than describe, but this is what it looks like, guys. This is what I see when I close my eyes. There's a harbor here on the south of the island, and the remains of the ancient university can be accessed through a cave up high in the western slopes. This is where it's telling me to bring in the crew, and it's in these walls that we'll find the key to everything that I've been promised. Any idea what it used to be yet? It still hasn't told me, Walter, but I know it was something good. It's been abandoned now for 1,000,000 years and just waiting for the right crew to come along. I think it likes what we represent. It doesn't want America to fail. And, hell, I must sound like I've lost my marbles. I'm telling you what an island's saying when it talks to me in my dreams. Dreams were how America got started, Sheldon. It was men with a vision that created us in the first place. She's not wrong, bud. Sheldon, Grace, quick, you gotta see this. My God. Are you sure my crew and I are supposed to be here, Mr. Sampson? The island doesn't make mistakes, Captain. You're here because it wants you to be here. Who knows? Maybe it sees something in you that you can't see for yourself. We've never talked about what happened in those mountains. All people know is that we came back better and wrapped in costumes that raised the spirits of any who saw them. The papers called us superheroes, and we helped America through the Great Depression, the Second World War, conflicts, scandals, and anything that was thrown at us. We didn't care about money or politics. Our only desire was to serve our country, and our infinite idealism inspired the best in everyone who came near us. And so, we had children to carry on our work and inspire our great nation to even more remarkable heights. Superheroes were the summit of American inspiration, and so our children grew up to remind mankind of everything that we could ever hope to be. Los Angeles, March 2013. Look at her. She will literally put her name on anything, won't she? She doesn't give a damn about endometriosis. Chloe couldn't even spell endometriosis. She's just trying to suck up your parents, man. Suck up to your parents, man. She knows Lady Liberty loves a good charitable foundation. Oh, this is bigger than her and Mom, dude. Believe me, this is all about her endorsements. The more of these she does every week, the more brands will want to be associated with her. Am I the only one who can see how cynical she is? Excuse me, are you Brandon Sampson? I just wanted to let you know that your parents were my biggest influence. I wouldn't even be wearing this costume if it wasn't for all the amazing work they've done over the years. Yeah, well, that's very interesting, sweetheart, but this is the VIP area, and you're not allowed to cross that line unless you've got superpowers. Actually, my friend and I were wondering if you could maybe help us get in. We just moved here from Salt Lake City and still on the lookout for a publicist and an agent. Oh man, here we go. If you're after what I think you're after, just wait for me in the men's room, honey. I'll be finished with these drinks in 5 minutes. But I'm not taking my clothes off, understand? Oh my God. What makes you think you can talk to people like that? You think because your dad's the utopian that you're better than everyone else? Leave it, Kendra. The guy's an idiot. Let's go talk to somebody else. You're lost, ladies. You okay, man? I just got word that Omega and Samsung have canceled my contracts. They're saying it's the downturn, but I think they forget I've ever got super hearing. You just need to raise your profile, dude. Get out there again. Maybe save some people. It's the only way to get your face viral. Doing what? My dad's always telling me if I need to do more. Sorry. Doing what? My dad's always telling me I need to do more superhero stuff. But this isn't like the old days. There's nobody cool to fight anymore. All the great battles are well and truly over. All the best villains died 10 or 20 years ago. My parents need to realize they were living in a golden age. Excuse me? I don't mean to interrupt, but my friend asked me to let you know she's waiting in the men's room when you're ready. Vermont. Hey, Jules. What's going on? I just got the text. Is this really Black Star everyone's fighting up there? Yeah, that's why I'm hanging back and waiting to see what happens. 100 different heroes showed up, but I'm not going up against a guy with antimatter battery in his chest. Isn't he the one that killed that entire alien race? Tell me about it. I'll jump in at the end and land a few blows, but in the meantime, I'm just moving around and doing my best to avoid getting hit. My dad and Uncle Sheldon's up front anyway, so it's not like there's anything to worry about. Speaking of which, I hear you got bumped from the main team again at the meeting this afternoon. What the hell's up with that? You know, my uncle's like. He still hasn't forgiven me for going on a date with that woman I rescued from a house fire last year. He actually said I was morally questionable, but he's the one whose morals I'd question. Hey, everyone. I think I got things going back. Testing.
For me, you started loading on that scene where he was talking to her. She's floating in the air. She just landed.
All right. Now I'm finally hearing you, Venkman.
Sorry about that. I think you're back, I think.
Yeah, you're back. You were.
All right. So, where was the cutoff?
Well, like I said, go back.
He was the girl with the ponytail. She was smoking a cigarette with that guy, and he was like, ah.
She was looking right at him. She's on the right side, looking right at him up, and he's lighting her cigarette.
He's talking about how his morals should be questioned because he acted like he lived in the 30s, the 1930s.
Gotcha.
39. That was the last word you read. It was 1939.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Those of you listening in the audience, if you guys, besides RDV and Zach, well, I guess you guys are listening through. No, you guys are on. Someone besides those two, type in the chat that you can hear things. I think you can, but.
Sorry about that, guys. Yep, we can hear you.
No, that's
on the phone.
Yeah. All right.
So back to radio silence.
Thanks, other RDV. It's probably the only two listening to me anymore, so I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Let me get back to where I was in the comic book. The cool thing about running the Discord here is I was alerted when I lost internet connection. That's what happened, because you guys dropped out of Discord, or I dropped out of Discord at least, and it Discord kind of beeps when that happens.
Nope, I saw the circle, and we're typing in the general text. I'm like, are you seeing a circle of death too? So, you're back.
All right. I'm trying to figure out where I was. I'm just going to start at the beginning of the Vermont scene.
I know when you start when you crash, because you drop down from like 9 to 2 people, and then it went back up as soon as you came back on.
Yeah, I lost internet completely. Like I lost Discord, I lost everything. So I don't know what happened. I do apologize. Fortunately, YouTube keeps the stream running, so I can reconnect. And fortunately, it wasn't like a major outage. It must have been some sort of hiccup. Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, so everything looks good at this point. I need to take a drink of tea. I don't know the exact point where I cut out, but it wasn't much after the beginning of this scene at Vermont, so I'm just going to start from the beginning.
Yeah, it was 19. You said the last word for me was 1939, where you're getting right up to it. But so was Uncle. But go ahead, start over.
All right, thanks, guys. Let's continue with the
3,
show.
2, 1.
Nice. Vermont. Hey, Jules, what's going on? I just got the text. Is this really Black Star everyone's fighting up there? Yeah, that's why I'm hanging back and waiting to see what happens. 100 different heroes showed up, but I'm not going up against a guy with an antimatter battery in his chest. Isn't he the one that killed that entire alien race? Tell me about it. I'll jump in at the end and land a few blows, but in the meantime, I'm just going to be moving around and doing my best to avoid getting hit. My dad and Uncle Sheldon's up front anyway, so it's not like there's anything to worry about. Speaking of which, I heard you got bumped from the main team again at the meeting this afternoon. What the hell's up with that? You know what my uncle's like. He still hasn't forgiven me for going on the date with that woman I rescued from the house. He actually said I was morally questionable. But he's the one whose morals I'd question. Guy's still living in 1935. Oh no. What's up? Move! Boom. What are you waiting for, Walter? Get in his head and close him down. I'm trying my best, but his defenses are incredible. Imagine a lock within a lock inside 1,000 other locks. It's all about finding the correct key. Get down. Would you please hurry up? Just a second, Grace. I think I've got something. There, that's better. Sorry for the confusion, Black Star. I've just separated your mind from your physical body and trapped you here in a psychic painting that I've been working on. This is a beach holiday I had as a 6-year-old. It took me weeks to assemble this level of detail. These really are the exact sounds and smells from that glorious afternoon. The same little fish swimming around our feet. I thought it might be nice to go somewhere tranquil while my brother demolishes your physical form. Would you like some cake while we're waiting? What the hell's going on out there? What are they doing to me? To be honest, it's actually pretty grisly. I think Sheldon's hitting you with the car right now, but he shouldn't be more than another few seconds. Just wait here and try not to think about it. I think they just snapped your backbone. Oh, God. Wow. Not exactly the noblest way we've ever won a fight. But I hope forgivable under the circumstances. Is everyone okay? Just a little winded, Utopian. Does anyone have a bottle of water? Black Star leveled half of Missouri the last time he escaped from the government's holding pen. At least we took him down without any casualties this time. Just notifying the Supermax right now, sir. I'll tell them we'll be about 20 minutes if the wind isn't against us. Hey, Uncle Sheldon. Who's handling first aid tonight? I really got winded back there and I think I might have cut my knee. Don't even try to pretend you were involved in this, Jules. I heard you on the phone to your publicist. Does being in the papers really matter that much to you? At least Walter's boy showed up, honey. Still no word from the kids. Not even a reply. But that's hardly a shock. It's gotten to the point I'd be more surprised if they did respond to an emergency call. I think that's a little unfair, Grace. Excuse me? You have to remember, they didn't choose this life. They were born into the family business. You can't give them a hard time because they'd rather go to a movie premiere than take part in a street fight. Well, I think we'd all rather be at a party right now, but having these powers comes with certain responsibilities. Excuse me while I bite my tongue. What do you mean by that? Gentlemen, please, let's not get into all this again. No, let's. America's collapsing. The Eurozone's bleeding to death. The global economy is hanging by a thread, and we're still just out there wrestling like children. Don't you think we could help more directly? Doesn't this give you a heroic sense of impotence? You're not an economist, Walter. What are you gonna do? Just because you can fly doesn't mean you know how to balance a budget. You need to accept that we're public servants and have a little faith in the government we've elected. Oh, my dear sweet brother. It's the politicians who are messing it up. Don't you understand? People are pleading for someone to step in and fix this chaos. I know you think man always finds a way, but we're right back where we were in 1929. This America that we're supposed to protect is almost on the verge of being washed away. I'm sure President knows what he's doing, Walter. He doesn't need us to tell him how to run the country. Oh, of course, because they're so much smarter than we are. That's why they let the banks run wild like they did in 29 and started all those wars that we couldn't afford. I saw a flood line in Los Angeles this morning, Grace. How bad does it have to get before we finally admit the system doesn't work anymore? I don't think I appreciate your tone. I'm sorry, Sheldon. Maybe I'm just getting old. But I feel like we're wasting our time with these sideshows when we clearly have the power to turn it all around. I've been blessed with this incredible brain. Isn't it my moral responsibility to walk into the White House and show Obama what he should be doing with his second term? Oh, time out. I hate when you do this. Don't need to interject modern day politics or real world politics. Remember when you just could watch a movie, read a comic book, and it just be some sort of fictional president? Can it just be President Johnson? Just make up a character. I get it. When this book came out, Obama was the president. I'm fine with that. I just think it's a mistake. It dates the book. Now we're reading it 10 years later. And it's like, oh, it just, you know what I'm saying? This would have had a more timeless quality, I think. So it just doesn't break the book. It's just an annoyance. Moving on. Sorry. No. It's your moral responsibility to obey the gentleman this country elected. So I don't want to hear any more talk about telling people what to do. Is that clear? That goes for all of you. This system got us through 2 world wars and a whole lot worse. All we have to do is ride it out and leave politics to the politicians. Does everyone understand? Oh, absolutely, Your Highness. Your wish is our humble command. Sorry, I'm having a... Hopefully I'm still connected. I've had Comixology hang up. There we go. Now it's back. 4 a.m. Los Angeles. Was she mad at you? To be honest, Mom's always kind of mad at me. I tried to explain that my cell phone was off, but she hates the fact that I'm so non-confrontational. I thought she'd be pleased about my charity foundation, but all she wants is me punching people in the face. How can I hurt another living being? I'm a Buddhist and a vegetarian. I'm not going to hurt someone because they contradict our belief system. Oh, poor little rich girl. Come and make it all go away with Lionel's magic nose powder. We got this stuff from an off-world dealer, Chloe. You'll love it. I'm more messed up than that time we dropped acid in Mariana's Trench. Everyone thinks it must be great when your parents are famous superheroes, but they really have no idea. I'll never be as cool as Dad or as beautiful as Mom. Look at me. I'm like the most aspects of both of them. I'm like the worst aspects of both of them. I even have ugly feet. Oh, darling, get over yourself. I'm serious. My mom's like 100 years old, and guys still only hit on me to see her phone number. Speaking of which, what's going on with you and Shockwave? I saw you talking to him for like an hour outside the little girl's room earlier. Ew, not a chance. Dating a superhero would be like dating my father. I'll stick with disappointing bad boys if you don't mind. You know, my parents have never said a mean word in all those years they've been together. They're both just so beautiful and uncomplicated. All they want is to love each other and help other people. You know, they're the last 2 heroes who still keep secret IDs. My therapist says that's why I never maintain a proper relationship. I'm always comparing it to this perfect thing I saw growing up. Chloe, are you okay? Yeah, it's just... Wow. This is really strong stuff. I mean... Chloe! Shh! Oh my God. Are you okay, hon? All right. So I lost connection to the chat on the PC. I think I still have it on the iPad. Hey, yay for backups. Zach and RDV, I don't know if you guys are still in the... You guys still in the chat? Who knows? The shadow knows. Says you guys are still in the chat. I'm showing you on the picture. Um,
I'm not here.
there you are.
Well, I'm on the 8-second delay when I watch on my phone, so the way it's
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, but that's for viewing. If you turn off
Yeah.
the
I take my headphones off though, so I can listen to you on there. So like lines. Otherwise, I'm getting future dialogue, falling 8 seconds behind.
oh yeah, that's a good point.
It's
Oh, you know what I need to do for you guys? I can fix this. I can make it better.
you can share your screen on Discord.
Yeah, I think he can stream. Yeah, there it is.
We have the
Watch.
power. We have the technology. Look at that. Makes all these Discord sounds. Let's see. Sorry, White Circle of Death. To quote Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, says Melissa. Yep, I do. I'm suspecting that that was Mark Millar making a nod, perhaps. Let's see. Zach agrees. Oh, that's you, Zach, about it dating the story. Why don't you elaborate since you're actually in?
It's weird when he's never on mic. So it's weird when he's here. You always read his comments.
Yeah, no, I just like you said, it dates the story. This was what, in 2013, I guess, when this came out, and you know, here we are, what, 7, 8 years later, and just kind of like, okay, we know when this was coming out, we know that this was in Obama's second term, and I feel it just kind of, I don't know, it puts almost like a barrier around the story. It's like, okay, this is when this took place. I feel it limits it kind of in a sense, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I just don't like that. Now, if you're doing a story like they have historical fiction, if you're doing something like a JSA book where it or All-Star Squadron where it's like in World War II, or one of the older original Captain America books, like, okay, if it's part of the story, then sure. But if it's something like this, which is supposed to take place in a future, it's like, we got the past, then we got the present, or whenever this time is. I don't think there's no reason it could be limited to just 2013. I mean, reading this, if it didn't say 2013, if that character didn't bring up Obama, I don't see why this story, the present tense version, couldn't be seen as taking place today, in 2021. Anyway, that's just my opinion on it. So.
Good opinion. I agree with it. Let's see. What about you? You got something to say on there, RDB?
I really hope that's not the last time we see that girl. It's like she's just like, okay, she's gone. She's dead.
Right? She's like on the cover of the book.
Like build up, she just crashes. Like, oh, all right. Because sometimes books do that.
Yeah,
It's
they do.
deceiving. And it's like, okay, I guess she's dead now. All right, bring on one of the 99 other heroes that we're fighting.
Well, I don't know where this book is going because I haven't read it, but I can say that my understanding of the whole Jupiter's Legacy, the story I'm reading, it's about the kids. She's one of them. I'm assuming she's not dead yet. I mean, you gotta tell a story.
It feels more realistic what you said, because the way the guy up on the screen right now,
I don't know his name. He's the brother.
He's the brother. He's the brain guy. The guy that made that whole illusion.
Yeah, right? That's what it is. Yeah,
Obadiah Stane.
Yeah, Kurt Russell should play the Utopian, and then Jeff Bridges should play this guy. That's what should have been the casting choice.
Oh my goodness! I don't know. I think the casting choice of the pictures from the show look pretty good.
He looks like he's gonna become more the villain from just reading that little part. I love how he's like, you should be more hands-on approach. So you're gonna have, and they're supposed to be two brothers, right?
Yes, they're brothers. This is the younger brother, from what I understand.
I can see the younger brother becoming more rash and doing stuff, and end up taking over, becoming like, we're getting the Smallville. Lex Luthor is the villain. The other guy is the hero.
I don't see. He doesn't seem villainous to me at all. He seems to disagree with his brother, but more on philosophical ideas. They both want to do good things. I just feel I sense that this guy's just getting frustrated because it's just going full circle, and it's like,
Well, yeah.
what are we really accomplishing? And he's been loyal to his brother for 80 years. It's been 80 years.
Sees how the kids are acting and all that stuff, and it's. I guess I could see him going down maybe the darker path, the villain route, trying to get more in hand, like the mastermind, kind of like this, I'll do this, yes, brother, and all stuff, and then like the brother's like totally blindsided by it. It's like, well, how could you do this? I'm like,
I think that's just because you're so used to cliche, like you've seen it so many times that you're just like, I don't think that's where this is going. I would be shocked.
I have no hope for the newer.
This is Mark Millar. This isn't
Bendis.
Yeah.
That's where
Melania says they should not specify the president. P.S. Ash, there were a few presidents named Johnson. Right. Well, if he named him Johnson, then you wouldn't know, right? It could just be another one. Also, it could be a good opportunity to throw in some Easter eggs. Heck, make your friends president, right?
Yeah, they should have name dropped because most people would assume it's
hell. Make yourself president. You'd have President Miller. That's what I would do if I was writing a comic book and I needed a president. I would just be like,
you know what I do? I did President Schwarzenegger.
So good. Now the idea is not to put someone that is actually a real person.
President Arnold.
Yeah, it's Arnold. I'm the president. Come on. Get to the book. Let's do it. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Ash is really regretting letting us onto the stream tonight.
Yeah,
Melissa says, like the old man, I agree. Comics should leave the politics to the politicians. Yeah, I agree. I don't actually, you know what? I agree with Melissa to an extent. I don't actually mind if a comic, and I'll get your guys' opinion on this. I don't mind if a comic is actually political if it's not an established property, right? Like, let's say Spider-Man, that hasn't been political. It's an established property. It's been a certain way that doesn't get to be twisted to become your personal political tool once you become the writer on it. Like a writer should be truthful to the character that was established before they got there. However, if you make your own comic and it's your thing, you publish it yourself, it's your own original characters and create them, I'm okay. You do whatever you want. Like, you want to be political, go for it. Now, I may not want to read it. It may not be entertaining to me, but I am 100% okay with that. I still think there's certain things you shouldn't do. Like, I think putting like Obama in the comic instead of just having President generic guy is problematic, because now you're tying it to a real world character that the audience already has real world opinions of. So if you just make it a fictional character, then you can actually get your message across without having people be predisposed or prejudiced to ideas. I think that's a better storytelling technique. I'm not sure why Mark Millar did that. I don't know if he would maybe still do that today. I'm sure that he's probably a leftist. Everyone in the industry pretty much is. Most of the time, he's a very good writer, and as you can see so far in issue number 1, he's talked about politics, but he hasn't preached any politics in the book. And so far, these characters have been pretty idealistic. What are your guys' thoughts, real quick, on what I just said about politics being in comics? Is it okay sometimes, like I mentioned, under certain circumstances, or should it just never be there? Why don't you go first, RDB?
Depends on the story. Like, Xenoscope is all fable stuff, so politics would not make sense unless you say it's like you don't name anybody like President Obama or whatever this is, or President whatever, Trump, whatever. I don't want any of those real life situations like the border or and all that crap, border, coyotes and all. I don't mind if the villain is like a corrupt, like, other character from another, dimension that's trying to take, that was current, like, in Xenoscope that they did for what's it called, Robin Hood. They had a corrupt commissioner, or the mayor. The mayor is actually a monster from a different, dimension, and it was trying to take over the world. Well, not the world, but the city first, New York. By using all this stuff, So I don't mind stuff like that, the villains like that, but like when you go further up into like the government stuff, then they start to get really you're running the risk of either being preachy or just becoming more just like political. And yeah, I don't think you should ever name drop any names. Yeah, they dropped Obama. They shouldn't have been Obama. I don't mind what they're talking about, but I don't want name drops, and I don't want to be like, guns are bad, or save the environment, global warming. That's been done to death. Create something new. You know, if you need, that's the thing is, bad writers are the ones who have to repeat the same other writers like tropes and stuff. They can't come up with their own stuff. They have to just keep using the same stuff over and over again.
All right, what about you, Mr. Richmond?
Yeah. So on a similar note as RDV, I'd say names, Obama, Trump, whoever, leave them out because, like you said, Ash, half of your audience is going to like that, but then half of your audience is going to feel alienated because people are going to have different opinions for good or for bad on the name you drop, and you're not trying to, I would imagine, as a comic writer, you don't want to have a divided fan base. You want them all to unite and have common ground on the story. So as far as name dropping, stuff like that, not a huge fan of it. Now, that being said, if it's just like a political idea that's worth exploring, like I know RDV said, guns and environment, that stuff's kind of been done to death. But if you did have one that was kind of worth telling, and it was a good story, you could translate it into a good story without having it be preachy or heavy handed or whatever, then I think it'd be worth exploring. One that it's not the best comic event, but I really do enjoy another Mark Millar comic, Civil War. I like Civil War, the story. There's some problems with it. It's not perfect by any stretch, but it is this interesting two sides of an argument kind of deal, where it's like the security versus freedom argument, and I think it translates to a story really well. Um, like I said, there's some problems. Maybe some characters are on sides they shouldn't be on, but and then, like you said too, if it's an established franchise like Spider-Man or Batman, or you obviously, if you're a brand new writer coming onto it, you should absolutely respect what's come before it and not try to twist that character into your own mouthpiece. And if you wanted to create your own character and have them endorse whatever ideals, then it's your character. You can, of course, do that. I don't know that that's the best idea for getting new business, because you want to appeal to everybody. You don't want to only appeal to half of your customer base. But yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, personally, if I was making a comic book and if I'm writing one, I'm probably not gonna go and try to put little political bits in there. Whether for just letting people know where I stand, or even for storytelling, I would just try to make sure that you're telling an entertaining story first and foremost. I think that as entertainers, that should be priority number one. So
yeah, for like as far as for political stuff, like if you're doing a James Bond spy stuff or assassin stuff, you can have like weapons of mass destruction or biological terrorism and stuff, where they have to stop something like that. That's okay, and you're not really saying like the government's bad or this government's bad. You just create up a terrorist, so whatever you just name what you want on there, and you just have him like like the deal with Spectre with James Bond. Anybody can take that trope and it still works as long as you know what you're writing and you make interesting characters interesting enough. There was I go back to Joel Jones. There's like Lady Killers. You could have for much as a dark that is, like she's a housewife. She in the 60s, she's got a husband, she's got kids and up, and then And then when everybody else is asleep, she gets up and or she goes makes excuse like, oh, I gotta go run to the store, and then she goes kill someone for the where she works for. You could add political stuff in for satire, but but if you're looking for a specific agenda, like say let's just to trash the current sitting president, yeah, that's when I draw the line. And that just it divides people. It makes me just not want to read it. It's like, okay, this is Orange Man bad. Obviously, I don't want to read it.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much on the most part. Just don't interject the real world into your fiction.
Exactly.
Unless you're purposely
escapism,
writing an alternate history or something, but in most cases it just doesn't work.
Don't give it. If you have an political agenda, don't put it in your book.
Well, here's the thing though. Two of the best books I've ever read in my life, and among my favorites, are Animal Farm and 1984. Both highly political books. Like those books, you could not take the politics out of those books and they would not work. Animal Farm is a treatise on communism, and 1984 is basically a deep dive onto where socialism ultimately lands. If you take socialism to its farthest extreme and just keep going off the cliff, like where will it actually take you? That's 1984. Though both of those books are an interesting analysis, but never. I think the reason why those books work is they never like preach to you. They never go, "See, Orange Man's bad." They don't do that. They explore. Here's some ideas. Here's some characters dealing with those ideas. Here's those characters suffering ramifications. You as the reader now walk away, form your own ideas, right? You never at any time will see George Orwell at the end of 1984 be like, "Up, see, socialism is evil." Never once. In fact, many times people point out to me all the time, thinking I'm not aware, will be like, "Well, George Orwell's a left or a socialist. You didn't even know, I bet." Ha ha ha. And I'm like, "No, I know he's a socialist. I totally get it. You're not surprising me. Yep, he was a socialist. So what? Like, you can still be something and write. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can write. He wasn't trying to say socialism is pure evil and preach against it. He was trying to say, here's a story about characters in a world where socialism is driven all the way to its deepest imaginable end. How far can I imagine socialism going? And let's create a story there. But he never preaches. And my point is that I think politics has a place in stories. Yes, you may not want to read it, right? Like, some people will never read 1984, sadly. They may never want to. I think it's a book that should be required reading in schools, but you may not want to read it, and that's fine. But what my point is I think it has a place. And if it's in a place where, I wouldn't want to see Marvel Comics take Spider-Man down the 1984 route, like that's no. But when you do your own story that's dedicated to it and you do it well, I think you can do it. I think I sense some politics in this story, but it's not bothering me. What about you guys? How are you liking the first issue so far?
I'm liking it. I am. I like there's the change in attitude from the old guard, the parents versus the kids that we've seen. There's a clear disconnect in the way they approach their jobs as superheroes. I like that. And like you said, there is a little bit of a political takes in there, little here's and there's, but nothing that really turns me off of the story. Like, the Obama name drop, which, like I said, just kind of dates it a little bit. But other than that, I'm really liking it, though.
Yeah, I would say it probably is like, because it mentions situations, but it never tells you how to think. I think that's the dividing line for most people that turns them off, is when they sense the author trying to tell them how to think. In this particular case, I sense like you've got the two brothers, and the two brothers are having a sort of philosophical / political argument amongst each other. but you constantly feel like this is their viewpoints, and you don't ever feel like Mark saying, this is the guy who's right. This is the guy you should listen to. You don't feel that. You as the reader can now walk away and say, oh yeah, I like what this guy had to say, or I didn't agree with this guy.
Right, like neither of them take kind of a jab or say something like, "Oh, well, you disagree with me. You're a an istophobe or whatever, or you follow none of them kind of are throwing those insults that lead you to believe one's morally got the high ground over the other.
All right, Venkman, did you have something to say on the subject?
Not enough diversity. I didn't see one black person in this book.
Oh, Jesus. This is canceled. I'm sorry, guys. We were going to keep reading it, but Venkman has pointed out there's not enough.
Look, I bet you in the Netflix series, was the girl that walks over to that Sheldon kid in the club, was she a redhead? Because I think in the Netflix version, she's going to be race swapped.
Oh, that's a good point. We'll have to... For sure, there will be diversity in the TV show. For sure.
Why would they do that? They already have one in there. They have one of each. Black and white people in there.
No, you have to have more. There can be no redheads.
Where are the wheelchair superheroes? I didn't see one handicapped person in there. And I'm just saying this because YouTube, I know you're listening, and I hope you don't shadow ban us.
Thank you for that. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get on with issue number 2.
What's this guy's name? The brother's name? The one with the beard. He's the Utopian. Is this guy?
I don't know if
he has like a brain power.
Obadiah is the one with the long hair.
I don't know if they said his name yet.
Well, I'm just going off Netflix. Okay.
All right.
So
well, all right. So you guys are now on the live viewing, so you guys can follow along that way if you choose. I'm going to continue reading the comic, and then we'll have more discussion afterwards.
Do you us all a favor when you read this guy's part on the screen? Read it like the dude.
No.
Big Lebowski.
I am not a professional voice actor. I try to not sound as pathetic as possible. All right.
Come on, man.
Well, that's just your opinion, man. I can't even do it. See, I can't do it. All right, moving on. The Bay Area. Dad's going to love this. This is exactly the kind of thing he's always telling me I should be doing. He says when I don't have supervillains to fight, I should be out there drumming up business and looking for ways to help people. Well, it doesn't get much more awesome than this, huh? Absolutely. How many days have we shaved off your journey, Captain? I'm not sure. Maybe 1.5? But there's really no need to go through all this trouble, boys. The ship was on schedule anyway, and we might actually have problems getting a space at the Port Authority if we show up too early. No trouble at all, sir. Our pleasure. Just tell the crew to sit back and relax, and we'll have you in San Diego in a little over 2 hours. Man, I still can't believe how much we put away back there. I must have had about 50 shots. How much did you drink, Brandon? I saw you have 20 with that Kendra girl, but you must have done another 50 when you got to the Roxy. Dude, would you shut up? I can't count and do telekinesis at the same time. You're totally putting me off. Hey! See what you made me do? You're throwing it all off balance. Talking and thinking at the same time. Now try and keep the ship horizontal. We need to get both the sides lined up. Shit! Get out of the way! What are you doing? You're flipping it. What? You're turning it the wrong way. My God. Force fields, now. We have to protect those houses. I can't. There's too many pieces. It doesn't matter. Just keep trying. What the hell? What's going on? The ship's leveling out. Who's doing this? What's happening? I'm sorry for the inconvenience, Captain. Rest assured, I'll have you back in the water again as soon as possible. Your drink, I believe, sir. Thank you, Utopia. Very much obliged. Dad, thank God. Shut up, Brandon. Do you realize how many people could have been killed back there? Do you understand what would have happened if I hadn't been on patrol? Relax, dude. We were totally on it. No. You're so drunk, you can barely string a sentence together. It's bad enough you don't attend emergencies without getting out of your mind and causing them. I expected more from you, Shockwave. Your grandparents would be appalled. And if they were alive to see this. Screw you, Dad. Don't act like you expected it from me. What the hell's your problem anyway? You're angry when I don't play superhero, and you're angry when I do. My problem is that I wanted a successor and ended up with a disgrace. I'm ashamed of your behavior, disgusted by the shallow celebrity you seem to have chosen for yourself. Now get down there and wait behind the shopping mall on the northeast side of the city. I'll have your mother stop by and pick everyone up when she gets a moment. I think we're capable of getting ourselves home, man. Not in this condition, you're not. We'd have air traffic accidents all the way back to Los Angeles. Now get down there and wait for your mother before I get even more annoyed. Don't make me embarrass you in front of your friends. A little late for that, bro. You know, my shrink has this theory that the reason you're always giving me a hard time is because you blame yourself for the way I've turned out. That you were always rescuing cats from trees and never got around to when I needed a dad. This is why you're always yelling at me, man. Am I the only one in your perfect life you worry that you may have failed at? No, Brandon. Quite the opposite. I worry I've failed your sister, too. Los Angeles. Chloe? Can you hear me? It's Dr. Oberman. I'm afraid you've had another overdose. What? Your friends flew here at 4 a.m. last night and said you ingested an alien substance. Your heart stopped working for 10 or 11 minutes, but your mother helped me get a needle through your chest, and we managed to get it beating again. My mom knows about this? Everybody knows, I'm afraid. We've got half the world's media out there trying to get a paparazzi special through the curtains. But you're going to be fine, and the baby's fine too. We did an ultrasound when you were still out cold, and the obstetrician said you're both doing well. Both? What are you talking about? I'm sorry. I thought you knew. We ran a comprehensive set of bloods and urinalysis when they brought you in, and it was the first thing that got flagged up. I apologize you had to find out this way, but we estimate you're probably around 11 weeks. Oh my God. Are you sure? I mean, couldn't this be some kind of mix-up? Yeah, I know it says no visitors, but I'm her cousin, for Christ's sakes. I'm only dropping by to cheer her up. Chloe, would you mind explaining to this poker-faced harpy that the world won't end because I'm here outside your visiting hours? Not now, Jules. Please. This isn't a good time. Oh, come on. What the hell's the matter with you? I took the time to buy you a gift. At least have the manners to. I said not now, Jules. Well, screw you. It's okay. It's okay. We've got people here if you need to talk it over. You're not the first girl to come in here and get blindsided like this. Is there a father on the scene? Kind of. Is it complicated? Very. Long Beach. Well, well, well. If it isn't my old friend Hutch. Not so fast, bud. I'll take the power rod if you don't mind. We heard you were back in town, but we didn't think you'd be stupid enough to hang around in your old watering hole. You forgot you owe the big man for that suitcase full of heroin that went walkies last Christmas? Of course, I didn't forget. How do you think I paid for all this booze? The G-man put 100 G's on that smart mouth, Hutch. That's 50 grand each for me and my brother if we haul your ass down to the club. Now don't try anything foolish. You're only going to make it worse. We've got strength, speed, sonic screams, and optic blasts. Not to mention this little power rod you're always waving around. What you got to say to that? Shark-infested waters. What?
Damn.
Death by shark.
I'm looking forward to seeing that in the show.
Home. Shit. Now get the hell out of here before I make you the next man on the moon, Linus. When did you get out of the hospital? I checked myself out 40 minutes ago. The paparazzi were covering all the exits, so I'm left in the secret identity my mom made us when Brandon and I were kids. Are you okay, baby? I am now. You're here. Santa Monica. You know the worst thing about a drug overdose? The embarrassment factor. Everyone assumes you tried to commit suicide. Like, my pampered life is so damn stressful that I couldn't even cope with a charity ball. I hate it when people think I'm vacuous. Vacuous? Vacuous? How do you pronounce that word? Vacuous? I think it's vacuous.
Vacacious?
Well, since no one else knows, I'm moving along. Vacuous. I'm going to say vacuous. I'm pretty sure it's vacuous. It's not a... Damn you, Mark Millar, and your big words. It's not even that big of a word. It's just not...
It's pronounced vacuous.
Hey, I was right. Yay.
Adjective, lacking intelligence, stupid, or empty-headed.
There we go.
This has been your word of the day.
It's a new feature on Ash on Comics. Zach Richmond's word of the day. All right, moving on. I hate it when people think I'm vacuous. The worst thing for me was not being able to see you. That's the only thing I don't like about our thing. The fact we need to keep it hidden. Well, it's not going to get any easier. Did you hear my addiction counselor has arranged for me to move back in with my parents for 3 months? That's 3 more months in my alter ego bumping into furniture and pretending like I'm a geek again. Can't you just say no? Not if I want to hang on to my advertising contracts. Besides, if you ever actually meet my mom, you realize she's not exactly someone people like saying no to. Sometimes I wonder if I'm your little act of rebellion, your secret revenge against an overbearing mother and father. Says the guy whose dad was the biggest supervillain of all time. You like bad boys, and I like supergirls. What can I say? Maybe someone should write a paper on us. What's the matter? Nothing. It's just... Oh, shit. There's something we need to talk about, Hutch. The cabinet office. Ostensibly, it doesn't matter how far you push back the fiscal cliff. These tax rises will shave 3% off GDP, and that's only going to escalate after the defense cuts. Capping tax credits will have minimal impact. What I'm proposing instead is a blue skies approach to the very relationship between our economy and taxation. At ease, gentlemen. Walter? I'd like a word. Not now, Utopian. I'm in the middle of a meeting. I said a word. Please, Walter. Forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm afraid this is the one person my psychic powers don't work on. Well, if you intended to make me look like an idiot, you did an excellent job. What are you doing here? I thought we agreed we were staying out of the financial crisis. No, you agreed, Sheldon. I decided to roll up my sleeves and try to rescue the global economy. These guys were ecstatic when I told them I had a few ideas. That's why they asked me to come and talk about the blueprint I've been putting together. The what? I've got it all worked out. 600 pages of plans that tear up everything that we understand about wealth creation and detailing a brand new economic infrastructure. The world could be ticking like a switch. Take two. The world could be ticking like a switch watch if they follow my manifesto. Poverty and unemployment would be eradicated in less than 4 years. Are you really this delusional? Do you honestly think you know better than the experts now? They've given up, Sheldon. Unemployment's tipping 50% in some states. They've all just realized that the system is unsustainable now. The system isn't failing. It's just a low point in the cycle. I refuse to even countenance this idea. Why? Because you're so wedded to the old way of thinking? You can't get your head around the post-capitalist ideology? No, because you're not as smart as you think you are. You're my brother, and I love you. But you've always been driven by relentless ego, and I refuse to let you scare them into handing you control. The system works. We just have to trust it. Now go back and tell the president this is all very flattering, but it's not our job to tell governments what to do. Why not? Because I said so. And you wonder why your children are such a disenfranchised mess. Just get in there and do as you're told. West Hollywood. Another 10 shots, dude. In fact, I read that wrong. Another 10 shots, dude. In fact, make it another 20. It'll save me from catching your eye again in 5 minutes. Heard about what happened, Brandon. The boys were saying he humiliated you again, and I just wanted to check that you were doing okay. Yeah, well, let's just say I'm getting used to it, Uncle Walter. I just wish he'd stop comparing us. It's so unfair. I know I'm not as smart as he is. I know I'll never be the same perfect example of American masculinity. Oh, Your father isn't perfect, Brandon, believe me. You have to remember I was there back in the old days. It's only human to idealize your parents, but the old have really no more wisdom than the young. We're just ugly enough to look wise and not so driven by our genitalia. I hate him, man. I totally hate him. I know he's my dad and I'm supposed to love him, but I really want to strangle him when he makes me feel this low. So do something about it. What? You're not the only one he's alienated with that high-handed attitude. I've had decades of that arrogant ass, and he talks to my boy like some vulgar C-lister. The country's in the sewer, and he's tied our hands together. Ask your friends. You'd be surprised how many people want to see him take a tumble. Is this going where I think it's going, Uncle Walt? You know you're very well regarded in the community, Brandon. So let me ask you a hypothetical question. If your father were to fall under a bus, would you have the courage to really do what needs to be done out there? Are you serious? I've spoken to a lot of people lately, and yours is the name that keeps coming up. It's obvious you're the only one who could challenge him physically. But what do you think? Is leading something that appeals to you in any way? Absolutely. So how do we make this happen? Oh, spoiler. Wow, maybe Venkman's on to something. Maybe he is gonna go bad.
Can you say that again? Venkman's right.
I've defended you many times. Pretend like I've. Jeez. Let's see. I hate when they change Billy Batson's name. Says Melissa. That's unfortunate. That wasn't really a choice. I kind of had to change Shazam. Snatch Face shows up. Hey, what's up, Snatch? Surprise pregnancy. Dun dun dun. Father drama. Surprise babies. Death by sharks. What's gonna happen next? Dude, death by sharks. That
was wild. Like, holy cow.
Yeah, that Hutch
I agree with
character.
Mariah. That's a crazy. That's a cool power. That's one you don't see too often.
Well, I still don't
Making
even know
other
what
people
happened.
teleport.
Did he teleport? Did he teleport the dude into sharks?
I think so because he said the next day unless you want to be the next guy on the moon.
Oh yeah. Well,
So,
true. That's probably I was thinking like, was this happening in his mind? Maybe.
No, it's a cosmic rod thing. I think is what it is.
But he didn't have the rod.
It was just on his table. On a table, the silver thing was right there.
But didn't they take it away from him?
It might be worked with his voice imprint when it works with him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That was weird. It was just.
Because it wasn't the guy who was holding it, the one that got transported into by the sharks.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I'm sure we'll see more of that guy. It's just, yeah, that was cool. Mark does that quite a bit in comics, where you're just like, what the hell? That's pretty cool. Ronnie says that was an awesome power. Uncle Walt going evil, says Melissa. His son is a psychopath.
Did I say he looks like Obadiah Stane?
This is I'm finding this to be a very interesting
Evil
commentary on sort of like young generation versus the old generation.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting that this was done nearly 10 years ago. Like, you read it now and it feels like, oh yeah, I mean, this is what's outside our window. You go just look at what the kids are doing today and all the violence, BLM and Antifa, and just crazy weirdos, just all, the generation seems just totally messed up. But I don't remember 10 years ago it being quite to that level. And I guess maybe Mark was just more sensitive to it. Like, it resonates more now than I think this would have 10 years ago. But then a lot of times dystopias tend to feel that way. I remember when
it feels like a PG version of The Boys, almost a little bit. Because in the sense that it's mature, it's a superhero world, and it's mature than what we get in the DC comics. It's very like, seeing as the daughter, like she's pregnant with this guy, and this guy is murdered, and like you see, I think when I started to get more, when I got that vibe is when I see her, she's in bed when then she's got her shirt off, and like, wow, you wouldn't see this really in a DC comic with Superman or like that.
No,
No.
but Mark Millar is famous for pushing the envelope. I mean, you can remember Kick-Ass. I mean, Kick-Ass has sex with his girlfriend. I mean, there's full on teenage sex. I mean, even in the movie, like, I remember that was a big shocker for me when that scene hit. I was like, whoa, I thought this was like a superhero show. But yeah, I appreciated it here that it was done with filters. Like, you could see that they were naked, but they didn't like show any, they use the clever camera shots, if you will, to like conceal body parts.
Those cleverly placed hands drawn in just the right areas.
Right. Because quite honestly, I don't know. I don't necessarily need pornography in my comics. But I can respect that what he was trying to communicate. Yeah, you're right though. The Boys would have gone further. Although The Boys didn't really show anything either. I just think The Boys was, I don't know. Is this really, I think they're both kind of on a similar level.
The Boys is more gross, more vulgar.
Yeah, I guess The Boys is vulgar.
This is like the PG-13 version. and The Boys is like, yeah, we can't show it's unrated.
But The Boys doesn't really show anything either. They insinuate stuff. They don't actually show it.
The guy getting the grenade up his butt, blowing up, translucent.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like the sex stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well,
but come on, death by sharks.
Like I said, that's not as mature as The Boys. Like the
blown up with a grenade, getting mauled to death by sharks. They're both pretty gruesome. I mean, the difference is The Boys adds the crass angle of like, you didn't just get blown up with a grenade. The grenade was shoved up your ass. Then you blew up. Like, it's like, oh, that's really crass.
I guess you can compare it in The Boys, a comic where they show the team, especially like the teen squad, and they're in a hotel. Then the boys go to show up to take them on. How depraved and everything is like that. They're all about me. They're doing drugs. That's a little bit more vulgar. This is kind of like, it's just kind of like, I want to say it's the completely opposite, but it's not as like, you're not seeing full on frontal nudity. You're not, just it's not vulgar language all the time. You do see some drug use in this, you see but I don't know as far as what the next use is gonna be. Maybe it could start going towards the Boys direction. Because I don't see Mark Millar being like as vulgar or is as crazy out there as Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis, like I said, he has that like, when he wants to go dark, he goes dark.
His damn Brits, man. They're all just what are you guys thinking, you guys that are watching? I'm not seeing too many people really commenting on the book. Melissa says she just learned that Hulk is based not only on Frankenstein and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but also the Wolfman, because Hulk originally turned during the full moon. And then Ronnie says actually the Hulk turned into Hulk at night, as I recall, in the beginning. Yeah, and that's what the Hulk actually does now. They kind of reverted him. The immortal Hulk is at night he's the Hulk.
Oh, that stupid thing. I didn't care for that when they did the Hulk. I like the original origin stuff, with the whole where he's running out, like they did with the Eric Bana one. runs out, and then he just turns to Hulk normally. What time it is? They have him
You're
revert like
making
that.
me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry.
Although the best version of Hulk is Incredible Hulk, Bill Bixby. Mr. McGee, you're making me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. The whole, I just love Bill Bixby as a character, as an actor, and then throwing out there was the Hulk or Lou Ferrigno kind of cheesy, but I don't know, it just perfectly tied together. When the Hulk threw the bear, I just clapped. I was like, yeah, take that, Chris.
The sad thing about those early Marvel shows like Hulk and Spider-Man is they didn't have villains.
Yeah, they didn't. You're right.
It was almost like they'd like, hey, look, I got powers and I exist in the real world, and it's like, oh, so like Hulk, they'd be like, oh, the mafia is doing something, but like, oh, now Banner turns to the Hulk and smashes them all. You're like, okay, but like, yeah, you never had any like Hulk villains.
He had yeah, he didn't really not superpower villains. It was always criminals or people with corruption.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like in Spider-Man too, there was never like a Doc Ock or
no, but he had a giant Megazord and he fought aliens, didn't he? Like Power Rangers. I thought it was like something like that. Because I remember having a giant spider Megazord. And I was like, "What is this thing?" And I'm watching these.
I don't remember him having any Spider-Man. What you were watching from the 70s?
Japanese
no, when I'm Japanese Spider-Man, you goofball.
I was like, yeah, it's like the combined Shogun Warriors.
That's what happens when you get Venkman on your channel. You start going all off a left turn. Well, no one seems to be interested in this book. I'm a little disappointed. I'm really liking this.
I am too. How many issues is this? Is it just like one run, or is this like an ongoing series?
So this is 5 issues. For some reason, I thought it was 6, and I was like, okay, that's great. 3 shows I'll do. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do now that it's 5, because that's like an odd number. So I'll have to think about. Maybe I'll just. So I either do 2 issues on Thursday, and then next Tuesday I do 1 issue plus something else, or I just cram 3 issues in on Thursday.
Well, now I'm really interested because, I mean, there's a lot that they had set up kind of just in these first 2 issues. So it's like, how are you going to cram all of this and get like, satisfying endings and conclusions if you only have 5? Because there's a lot that they've got going on here. They've got, the one brother wanting to conspire against the other one. You almost have like a Lion King or a Hamlet situation going on with the 2 brothers. Then you've got like the daughter that has the surprise baby, and I don't know. It just seems like you've got a lot going on. It's a lot. Like, how are you going to fit this into 5 issues? So I guess that's maybe where the prequels come in, or
for sure, right? Yeah, we know there's yeah. I don't know, but one thing I do know about every Mark Millar book that I've read that's not his like mainstream stuff, his like independent stuff. He always writes with a really brisk pacing. It's very common today to talk about writing for the trade and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know if that's necessarily fair to say for Mark, though his stuff is definitely written. You can read it in one big trade. But I think the writing for the trade really is meant to talk about decompression, and you're basically taking one single issue and you're decompressing it into 6 issues. That's a trade paperback. And so now a trade gives you about as much story as like a single issue would have given you back in the day. And Mark doesn't do that. When I read his stories, I very much feel like when I read like Prodigy was one of the last books of his I read. And I did reviews on the channel if anyone's interested about Prodigy. Prodigy was pretty good. Not one of his best things, but one of the things I noted about that book, and like I note about a lot of his stuff, is that it's the way it's structured, the way the beats are. That 6-issue Prodigy miniseries would make a excellent like movie. Like it just feels like it's on the same pacing as a movie, it has all the, you could just do that in 2 hours real quick, boom, done, call it a day. And he just writes like that. And I feel like this is going to be something similar, I'm guessing, where he ties up not maybe all the subplots and things, but at least ties up whatever potential story he's trying to get at here into, you know, a single movie-like experience. We'll see. I'm curious to see if the TV show is it going to be based on like one volume? Like how are they doing that? Because it's eight issue or 8 episodes.
I think Zach hit it on the nail. They should have had older actors, because having Josh Duhamel, he's like in his early 40s.
Yeah, but didn't you see the picture of him?
Yeah, they just give him a wig and a beard, but he's like in muscular shape. I guess that's how they want the physique. They want that young man's physique still.
No, but didn't you remember in the comic book they mentioned like how like the girl's mom, she's like 100 years old. Literally, she's 100 years old, but men are still hitting on her. Like, so they're not aging at the same rate.
Yeah, they have like a slow age.
It's weird seeing Josh Duhamel in a superhero role. Like, I watched that one movie where he was a firefighter and he had to like stop the gangs, or like whatever it was called. It was like some weird movie with him. Because yeah. So is it like I said? It's weird seeing him in this type of role. I've never seen him in a superhero role, and I'm hoping it's not corny. But then again, I hope it doesn't fail, because people are expecting, "Whoa, is this gonna be like The Boys?" And it's nothing like The Boys, because people looking at it, they look at The Boys, yeah, this is cool, and they see this is like, if they don't go as hard as The Boys is, I think it may not do as well. And it being only 8 episodes, is it going to drop weekly, or is it going to drop all at once?
Well, it's going to be on Netflix, so they do the model where they dump all the episodes at once. They're not like Amazon or Disney Plus, where you get 1 episode a week.
So May 7th, they're just dropping all at once, 8 episodes, boom, it's over within like a month. No one's talking about it again.
Yeah. So it'll have to be, I learned this about Netflix. Whenever you have a television show, you don't sign like a 5-season deal or a 3. You don't sign a multiple season deal with them. You take it 1 season at a time. And then I guess depending upon the public's reception of that show, that's what they look at when it comes time to get another season. So yeah, no, hopefully this first season they have coming up, you know, I hope it does good. I hope it gets a lot of people's eyes on it. You know, I don't want it to be exactly like The Boys, because then why not just call it?
I know, but like, a lot of people are like me. I'm waiting for The Boys. Looking at this show, it's just like, and then I don't really care to see the show as much as, I mean, I'd rather just watch another season of The Boys.
This doesn't feel like The Boys at all, though, because The Boys, The Boys feels like a commentary on celebrity and the corruption that it has on you. This feels more of like the breakdown of a privileged society. This feels like a story that's very much America, the story of America personified into people, where, like, you know, in the beginning America was full of hardship, and you had, you know, there's a saying that I really like, where it says like, hard times make strong men make good times make weak men make hard times.
Yep, I was just thinking about that as you started to make that whole comparison there. I was just thinking of that saying. And
it's a circle, like, right? Yeah. Because then the good men make weak time or hard times, and then the hard times make strong men again. And so it feels like the kids represent kind of what America is today. Like, America has been we're so wealthy as a country, right? And we've had such rich time. We've never been invaded. You know, we're one of the few countries on earth that hasn't had other countries flying over us and dropping bombs on us. I mean, think about that. Like, most of the world has lived through a time where other countries flew over them and dropped bombs on them, except us. And we just don't have, the young generation doesn't have any concept of hardship or anything. Everything's easy for them. And so because of that, their challenges are things that others older people look at and go, that's ridiculous. Like that's your like they can't deal with it. And it boggles our minds. We sit there and see like, why are people struggling with this nonsense? And it's because they've never had to. They've never had discipline. They've never had to go and tackle anything. And it's made them all weak. And I think that's what this show or this comic book is kind of exploring. The Boys is not like that at all. The Boys feels like a commentary on this, like I said, the celebrity and just what it does to people and the elitism. And who would be more of a celebrity than superheroes? I mean, let's face it. Like if Superman was real, he'd be the freaking most famous. Yeah, he just go ahead.
He would pull Kanye. He'd run for president, but he would actually win probably.
The way I was trying to compare it to The Boys is more just as far as like the kids. The kids are more like a celebrity status like this. They're getting more into the stuff.
But see, I don't see that they're not like I mean, they're celebrities in the sense that they're kids of celebrities.
They're doing it one's got a publicist, the other one's seeing a psychiatrist, but they're not working for like whatever it was bot. They're not working for that. But
yeah, I see what you're saying, but yeah, they're not like actively trying to chase that celebrity like Homelander or like any of the Seven do. They're not.
Oh yeah, because they're not part of the Seven.
Well, no. What I'm saying is The Boys focuses on that. Like the storyline is about what being in the Seven does to you. This story is mentioning. Oh yeah, by the way, because in real life, if you were a superhero, you would be a celebrity, but it's not focusing on that. The story's not exploring what is it like to go through this and how does it affect your psyche. It's not doing that at all. It's just mentioning like, oh yeah, she has a publicist. But I mean, come on. Jennifer Walters had a publicist. Like that doesn't mean that they were trying to explore celebrity. That's why I think it's different. It has some similarities in the fact that it's kind of dark.
It's not exactly like that. I'm just saying, that's what drew me to The Boys TV series and the comic was that dark. This had never been really done before, as far as the whole public being celebrity and all that stuff.
No, you're right. There is what I'm trying to do is illustrate because you're pointing out the similarities, and what I'm trying to do is draw some contrast and say while those similarities exist, I think that this has value to consider because it also has differences.
And like I said, until I watch it, I'll make up my after I watch the first episode, I'll make up my mind as far as I want to continue or not.
Because the other thing about The Boys, remember, The Boys, all soups are bad.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't feel that way at all. Feels like
this has a much more optimistic outlook. Excuse me. At least as far as the older heroes are concerned.
And here's that picture too. Like I think Josh Duhamel or Hamill, what the hell is his name? I think he looks really good as Utopia compared to what we saw in the comic.
Yeah.
The one who looks most different is the girl.
Yeah. Who is that? Lady Liberty, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Josh Duhamel needs to cut his hair a little bit. It's too long compared to the other one in the comic. Trim a little bit back, man. He's got like.
And his fingernails need to be clipped too. I don't think they were that unkempt in the comic book.
Get rid of that horrible cod piece. White power. That's the thing right away pops up.
You're so funny. All right, guys, this has been a long show. Thank you for hanging out this long. If you did, it always tends to go longer when I have someone to talk to, because it's just fun. Like time goes fast when you're having fun. I had a lot of fun. Did you guys have fun?
Dude, yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Huh? I thought you were talking to the chat.
Well, I am. I'm talking to the chat, but I mean, you guys can respond instantly. They have to type in the response.
Let me wait 8 seconds.
Oh my goodness, you're live, buddy.
Another 40.
I appreciate your amateurness making me look better, but
Lord just says bye.
Bye. Hey, good to see you, Lord. Okay. Let me ask you, how many comics did you read tonight, Vankman, during the stream? None? That means Vankman must have had a blast. All right, folks.
I'm actually on Instagram talking to Zach.
thanks for joining me. A quick plug: tomorrow night, earlier around 7:30 p.m. We're gonna just be having a hangout stream, panel stream where we try to do what we're just doing now. No reading comics or anything like that. Discussing comic topics, pop culture stuff that comic fans like. I know Zach is committed to joining me on that stream. I don't know who else is going to be there yet, but please come down and join us. 7:30 Pacific, and I look forward to seeing you. And I will give Zach and Vankman. Go ahead first, Vankman. Get the last word before Zach.
Well, last word.
Second to the last word.
You talk to Ingle team because he might be doing the cover thing tomorrow for Wednesday nights. I'm not sure.
So I talked to him last week that I was doing a stream.
Okay. Just making sure. He's like, no one's here. It's just me and Zach. But check out I Love Puppets. Awesome show to watch Tuesday nights before you jump onto this stream. Actually, listen to Ash. We reviewed the Flash episode 2. We also reviewed episode 2 of actually, was it episode 3? I think it was episode.
I think it was episode 3. Yeah.
Yeah, episode 3 of Superman and Lois. Both good shows. And then Friday, check out The Walking Dead for I Love Puppets. I believe it's going to be around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, right around there. It's Eastern. Yeah. And then you might see Zach in the auction. Bidding. I don't know.
He's bidding while he's on my stream. Wait, no, that's
on Saturday.
All right, Zach, take us home.
I'm still just kind of flabbergasted that The Walking Dead is still going on. I just need a.
No, it's not going.
I said take us home, not start a tangent. Jesus, got a hangout stream tomorrow. You have plenty of time to talk about Walking Dead.
No, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks, Ash, for inviting, having it to where I could be on, RDB could be on. It's been a ton of fun. Got a new book that I can look at reading now, so that'll be fun to look at the LCS.
Maranya says go.
When Maranya says go, exactly. But yeah, no. Until next time, y'all take it easy, be safe, stay healthy, drink lots of water. That's just normal advice I give myself. Drink lots of water. But yeah, y'all have a good one.
Good night, everyone.